Just walk away. Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror.
And we're live. Welcome, gentlemen. MGTOW Chats, episode 89. I'm your host, Ayam, as always, with Lamprey Milt. Lamprey, are you doing all right tonight?
Yep. It was me and you just got done doing a little bit of a chat, going over some things. We're not doing live stream next week. I need a break. I'm going to take an extra day off from work.
Okay.
I'm going to do a brief. Going to do traveling for a couple of days, couple nights. And it's 4th of July weekend next week. It's the end of Pride Month. Thank fucking God.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, that video you saw at the beginning was some gay Hispanic dying in a car crash. So that was... that was...
We'll play it again, in case you guys didn't hear him speaking.
Yeah, that was basically to signify or to signal the end of Pride Month. Thank God it's over.
Well, who knows? Next month they may just keep carrying on. So it'll be interesting to see if they just if they continue the way it is with Pride. June, obviously with the Stonewall riots, which were perpetuated by Allen Ginsberg, a beat poet that lived next door. I don't see it slowing down, especially that part of the social engineering aspect. But yeah, it's good that we're moving past the month of June.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a few people watching. Bob the Monk's in. Good to see you, brother. MGTOW Warrior is in. Rico is in. He says he loves this time for the stream. Yeah, we're doing mostly Friday nights now, Rico. Once in a while we'll do a Saturday. We'll see how it goes. And
it's not all about you, Rico. It's not all about you. Fucking selfish piece of shit.
And you know what else? We won't have a stream next weekend, but I do have content I can upload. So there'll be something there that you guys can listen to if we're not there. So don't worry about that. This weekend is July 1st. It's Canada Day. So it's sort of the equivalent of the 4th, right, in Canada. So it's a long weekend here as well. And I'll be out and about on Monday doing stuff.
Well, it's going good. I just told Ayam I lost 10 pounds doing Weight Watchers. I feel good. I finally fit into my pants.
Nice.
That was the red flag, dude. I was like, fuck this. If I can't fit into these pants, I got to lose some fucking weight. And I know there's going to be a point where I just can't lose weight. I know, and I'm going to be hitting that marker very soon, probably within another 2 weeks, where I'm just going to be plateauing. And unless I just starve myself or catch Ebola, it's just not happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I feel a little bit lighter, I feel definitely healthier. I don't know if that, maybe it's a placebo effect. Maybe I just know because I'm losing weight, it makes me feel better as a person. So it's hard for me to judge, but I definitely feel my gut has definitely shrunk. So, I'm 5'8", so if I lose 10 pounds, it definitely shows, versus someone that's like 5'11" or 6 foot something. So Weight Watchers, I did it. You're supposed to go to the meetings. I said, fuck that. I'm not going to some meetings where, you encourage people and you clap when someone lost fucking, half a pound for the obese person in a wheelchair. No, you lost weight because you lost a foot, you fat fuck. So yeah, it's good. It's just crazy. Some things are really bad for you. Like one can of soda. If I had one can of soda right now, I'm done. I have to starve myself till tomorrow night. Like that, it's a point system. And like soda and like pizza's really bad. McDonald's, anything fast food is a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But fruits, bananas, whole wheat, basically things that you kind of know if you should be eating versus, melted cheese on nachos.
Right. So what did they do? They just kind of redesigned your diet for the last 2 weeks.
Well, it's a point system, and you type in what you can scan the food, like the barcode, and it'll come up, and I'll tell you how many points it is, and you put in what your weight is and your height, and it gives you X amount of points you can have pretty much for the whole week. So if you eat 10 slices of pizza with 10 slices of pizza in the first 2 days, you basically have to starve yourself in the next week because that's what you did. So that's basically how it works, and it's worked out pretty well. So for lunch, I have a small thing of chicken noodle soup, a banana, and 2 cups of coffee, and then I'll have pasta with nothing on it at night, and that's basically been my diet for the past 2 weeks because all I do is eat pasta. So
okay, I see. Right on. And I understand what you're talking about with the clothes, man, because I've been, I'm a lot older, and my weight's gone up and down over the years, and I've got pants that are too big for me and pants that are too small for me.
Oh,
so,
that's hilarious.
so, like, I think all the clothes that I bought in Canada, I put on a lot of weight the first year I came back, and then I lost about half of that. So all the pants and shorts that I have now, they're all too big for me. I got to wear a goddamn belt.
How many sizes too big?
Oh shit, I don't
Two,
know.
three?
A couple easily.
Oh, that's big, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I dropped a lot of weight after my first year here.
Well, yeah, you definitely put it on. I seen your before and afters.
Yeah, oh yeah, I put on a lot, man.
Just a sack of sad, bloated sea manatee on his lazy boy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sleeping Elvis says Peter Pan tights fit all sizes. I guess so. I guess.
Now it's depressing when you can't fit into your pants and all you see is muffin top. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I was yeah, I think for those that are younger than 30, 29, 28 and a half, 29, you just put on mass, and you feel stronger. You feel healthy once you put on that mass. You're like, damn, I'm fucking really growing into my body here as a man. And you look good, even though you put on weight. You look good. You look more full. You look healthy. You look mature. And then I was like, fuck this. You know what I'm going to do? If I'm putting on this mask, not doing anything, I'm going to hit the gym. And that was while I was in Cambodia. And I just exploded, bro. My God, bro. I can put up so much weight. Definitely. Because all I did work out when I was in my early 20s. I went to the gym every day, hour and a half, benching, whey protein. I did creatine. Creatine worked big, was a big boost for me. And I kept those gains when I did creatine. And then I used to ask, there was this guy, he had to been 45, between 45 and 50. He was a fireman. And hang on a second. Cigarette. So he was diesel, just a shit brick house, right? And he used to be in the gym at the same time as me every single day. And I asked him one day, I go, hey man, how do you get so big? What are you supposed to do? And he goes, dude, it'll just come natural. Don't force it. He kept pleading with me, whatever you do, don't force the gain when you're young, because it will just happen naturally. Right. All these, again, the whey protein, muscle mass, D-balls, a lot of people do steroids, and he says, whatever you do, do not force it, because it will come. And it certainly did when I was in my late 20s.
Yeah, that's a good age. It's a good age to do that. It's an easy age, actually.
Well, you're not as spry. That's why you see a lot of running backs in the NFL. They just put on huge amounts of weight and just fucking try barrel dozing people over. Or in the MLB, you just become the DH.
Yeah, right.
You're just the 38-year-old DH.
It's your turn to get up to bat, man.
Right. Remember Adam Dunn?
Yes.
Adam Dunn. It's being batted 180 with 40 home runs and 50 RBIs.
So every 3 innings, you get to stand up and swing the bat.
Yeah, chewing tobacco. You fucking smoking cigarettes in the dugout. Oh, looks like I'm next. Up next. God, who are some of the biggest DHs?
Oh,
Frank Thomas.
what was his name from the Tigers? Fucking Fielder, man. Remember him?
Cecil Fielder
Cecil Fielder, yeah.
and his son. I think his son just retired.
Really? Really? God, I'm that old. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that Cecil Fielder. He was on the Yankees too, '96.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, like Chili Davis.
Hmm.
You see that the Yankees and Boston are in what is it? London today. First time MLB history playing in Europe, and it was a slugfest, man. It was great.
Was it all? Was it today?
Yeah, dude. You didn't see that?
No, fuck, I didn't see it.
Let me do the final score. Had been something insane. Like 17-14 was the last time I checked. Yankees game 17-13 New York Yankees. So England got a show of a lifetime. Yankees, Red Sox, and the Yankees just slugged it 17 fucking runs, man. Crazy.
The fuck?
And the center field's much shorter. And by the third inning, it was like 12-6 or something. It was crazy. It was 6-6 in the fourth. By the fourth, 6 innings each in the first inning.
That's bizarre since England is not really a baseball country, and they're used to football with scores of like 1-0. I wonder
Yeah,
why.
it's boring.
What I guess was that the whole plan? Is like let's make this a slugfest because they're used to boring 1-0 games.
Well, they got a show of a lifetime. You know, seeing those two arch rivals go at it in London, first time MLB history. It's great.
How many people were at the game?
It looked empty.
It's
Looked
fucking
empty. Wow, they really
nobody
don't like
fucking
American
went.
sports.
No, nobody fucking went. Oh shit! Let me quickly go through some of the chats, and then we're gonna get on with some of our material here. When we first came in, I noticed Autonomous Male said, "My wife's a friggin' 10," and I think that was from our last chat with Nowicki when we were making fun of what's his name, Vox Day,
Yeah.
and the
I still haven't watched more than a half hour of Vox Day stuff.
no, I can't. It's
It's
horrible.
that repulsive to you.
Well, it's not even the content as much as his whole personality. It's weird, man. I don't know. It's kind of like trying to watch Stefan Molyneux. Like, it's like this guy's got to be full of shit. I think he's good at sounding intelligent, but I think he's full of shit. But anyway, on that topic, guys, I wanted to try and take a play out of Owen Benjamin's playbook, because you know how he's got. He calls all his subscribers and the people that watch him bears, right?
Yes.
So he's got this whole kind of cult of people that are called bears. So and then they ask for a pseudonym. So like I want to be Russian bear. I want to be gay bear or whatever, right? And then they all kind of have these pseudonyms based on the fact that he's a bear, right? So I thought I'd try and I don't know if I'm going to commit. I don't think I'm going to commit to this. We'll see. But I was thinking, since he's doing that, we could try and do that. And because my animal totem is a rooster, we can all be cocks, right?
Your big cock, your elephant cock, your pride cock.
because it's my channel, I'll be big cock, and then we'll have elephant cock.
Thought cock. Yeah. What's Cabin Boy? Listerine cock.
Listerine cock.
Washed up cock. Niagara cock. You can keep going with that.
Yeah, exactly. So
Rico's Beamer cock.
Rico could be Beamer cock. So we're all cocks, man. We're all cocks, and then you can kind of figure out your pseudonym
You're
from
a
there.
cock. And you're a cock. And you over there, you're a cock.
Welcome, elephant cock.
Welcome, messenger cock.
Sleeping elephant says, "I win."
Whenever like someone every time I'm with my father and he meets new people, they ask my father, "Hey, how's it hanging?" He always says, "Down to the knees." My shit, my shit's so big it picks up peanuts.
That's right, man. Fucking if Owen Benjamin can do it, so can we. Anyway, the other thing we wanted to add into the show, this was your idea, Lamprey, was to kind of celebrate, well, you called it an alpha male, every week or every other week when we can. It's just to try to find some guy, some male. It doesn't have to be modern, it could be in history, to kind of celebrate as
Great men.
great man.
Celebrating great men.
Yeah, men that have achieved greatness, and more than that is men that have achieved greatness through perseverance of being a male, right, really, and not at the expense of cucking to a woman, which really doesn't happen. And I think I brought this up before when we were talking to Nowicki. I said that Owen Benjamin and Vox Day worship Nikola Tesla, but the guy never had sex and he never got married. But he was the greatest mind of our time. So, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm. One thing me and Ayam don't agree on is the concept of disposability. I'm very pro disposability. I know you're not, right, Ayam?
What do you mean?
Being a disposable for just society. You know, again, military. I mean, we talked about NFL running backs before when we talked about the concept of the not so much the anti-hero, but we had a conversation with Messenger a long time ago where I was discussing Curtis Martin. He's my favorite athlete, and he was being disposable basically to the crowd, to the plebs, right? And a lot of the people that I've taken a liking to, and I'm sentimental about, have been men that have been disposable. Many of them are dead. Many of them died in combat. One thing and one reason why I did move out of the country is I wanted to be a part of something that'll be in the history books. Now, I already know at this juncture of my life, it's probably never going to happen of something, historical happening, maybe be a part of, like 9/11, for example, for the people that were there, people that served in combat and stuff. But, a lot of great men just happen to rise to the occasion with what is being presented to them at that time. It's a kind of a freeze time. That was thunder. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. I did hear that.
That was loud. I'm outside having a fire. Hope it doesn't rain soon. But a lot of great men that you would never expect to do something great. Poindexter, and he just rises to the occasion. To do something magical, really. Yes. And those people are there to witness what he just did. Like, wow, that guy really, really did something amazing. And it's really about seizing the moment, being at the right place at the right time and rising to that occasion. Why is it in MLB? It's always that lone average baseball player that's forever immortal in MLB history. We talk about Pat Borders.
Well,
no name.
Well, yeah, for sure.
He's a nobody. He's forgotten. He lives in the suburbs of fucking Canada somewhere. He probably fucking manages the Snowflake League for the girls.
Yeah, well, 1992 World Series MVP, man.
Well, right, World Series MVP.
Yeah, that's right.
Not MVP of the season.
No.
We're talking World Series MVP. It's being you hitting a stride at the very right time, and that's what makes a great man.
That's right. Absolutely, man. And even before that, he was really not much of a person. He wasn't really a popular player.
Batted 200.
Yeah.
Average 5
catcher.
runs.
Yeah.
A season. A nobody. Pat Borders. He's batting 8th. Mm-hmm. And this is when I go take a piss break.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right, and I think what you're saying is I'm not against or for male disposability. I think it's a part of existence. Males are disposable because nature has demanded it. So it's eliminating male disposability isn't really an option. What really has to happen, and I think most MGTOW are on this page, is that male disposability has to be recognized again. Now, when you talk about male disposability in warfare, you know, how many we talked about World War One, and we have discussed World War Two. The amount of men that died in those wars. What did they die for?
True. What'd
Is
you
it,
do it for is a big question.
yeah. What did they do it for? And inevitably, what did they die for? Did they die for anything that was worth it? Like, who were they
Well,
fighting for?
I agree with you if you're looking at this from a macro sense. But
Right.
let's go with war, for example. There was a merchant vessel in the Java Sea. You know the Java Sea well, AM, now,
Oh
don't
yeah,
you?
I know very well. Yes.
Okay. And when the Japanese first expanded out, right after Pearl Harbor, as soon as Pearl Harbor happened, the Japanese went all out on offense, just taking Indonesia, taking Cambodia, going right up into Burma. Okay, they just exploded on a massive grand scale attack. And the Australians and the British, and to a lesser extent the US didn't really know how to react to this,
Mhm.
because there was a bunch of, like, you know, boats in the middle of the Java Sea, not minding their own business, just carrying on. And one time, this Australian merchant vessel, like an oil tanker or some shit, it just started getting attacked by the Japanese. And these guys have, like, no guns, because there's no oil tanker. There's no guns on it. Like, you're not expecting a dive bomber to come at you when you're just trying to trade goods.
Yes.
And there was one machine gun on the back, on the stern of the tanker, and ship gets torpedoed, everyone's abandoning ship, people are dying, whole 9 yards, right? And this one scrawny, like 105-pound, like 18-year-old nerd. I think his name is Collins. If the name rings a bell, I'll pull it up in a second.
Okay.
I think his name is Collins. And the Australian military has named a nuclear sub after him for what he did on this day that I'm telling you. Is that as the ship is sinking, and the dive bombers were strafing the survivors, trying to shoot people that are trying to abandon ship. Basically, what the Japanese were trying to do. The peace-loving Japanese, because they're so nice, right? Bad enough you're on a sinking vessel that's on fire and shit. Why don't you try shooting me while I'm in the water? Thank you, Japanese. That's so nice of you.
Yeah.
And so as the ship is going down, this one scrawny little guy says, everyone go, I'm staying behind. And, like, what the hell is he talking about? He's going to stay behind. He manned the one gun on the back of the ship and shot down 2 Japanese airplanes, right? As the ship is underwater, legend has it, and the survivors said they saw bullets coming out from the water, that he was still shooting underwater, drowning, still gun for the glory, trying to save his comrades.
Right.
So that's pretty epic. Again, a scrawny little no-name 18-year-old just seizing the opportunity like that, and to be, win, whatever. I forgot the award in Australia. It's a Commonwealth Award.
Mhm.
You get knighted and all that bullshit. But you get the point. What I'm trying to say is,
No, I agree. And Sleeping Elephant says martyrdom is weak, be selfish. But in that story you just told, you have to understand that that man in that was in that moment. Okay, he's not seeing the big picture, and that's what men do. You see, a woman wouldn't have done that. Okay, a woman wouldn't have done that, regardless of what the big picture was, right or wrong, regardless of what side she was fighting for, whether it was fighting for a good cause, or whether you're fighting for the tiny hats. All right, in the big picture. But in that single moment, the man made a choice, and that's what he was capable of doing because he was a man. And I think that's the true concept of male disposability. And when a woman would never be able to do that, never. And again, it's that moment. Okay, that guy wasn't going, son of a bitch, I'm fighting a war for a bunch of Jews. Fuck this. You know what I mean? That's not what he's thinking. He's just thinking, this is what's happening. This is how I have to act, right? So in that sense, and I think even in the greater sense, male disposability is always going to be there. It's biological. It's in the nature of men men to make themselves disposable. Um, the difference nowadays, though, and this is why MGTOW exists, one of the reasons why MGTOW exists, is the difference nowadays is it's not recognized. All right, it's not recognized at all. I had a commenter on an old video I made just recently who was a new listener, and he came on because of Ed Chiarini, and he said, "Wow, you're a Muslim MGTOW flat earther who interviewed Ed Chiarini. How the fuck did I not know about you before?" And a lot of that, a lot of what he said is in that string of words that he tried to identify me as. It comes down to a lot of what men are, and even my experience of being Islam, and I've brought this argument up because it was in the video that he posted on, is that, and not just Islam, but in sort of more traditional or religious based cultures and lifestyles, is that yeah, men are considered to be disposable, but there's a payoff. Okay, there's a payoff. You know what that payoff is? Lamprey, what's that
Well,
payoff?
a family. You get laid.
No, no, not just that. Patriarchy. That's the payoff. You rule.
Right, it's your society, right? You're dying younger, you're doing all that first.
You rule. You rule. You rule the household. You make the rules. You set the rules. You govern the rules. You mitigate. You discipline, and you create. Okay, but that's all been taken away, right? All that's happened in the last 100 years through social engineering and weaponized anthropology is that men were every right that they were given by God, by nature, as being disposable, was taken away. Yet the disposability remained. Okay, so
Well, that's where we're at. That's where we are today.
yeah, that's where we're at today. Alvaro,
So you have no country, basically, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah, you don't have anything, really.
You don't own the wheel. You don't own the cage. You don't own anything.
No, no, you don't. Alvaro de Bazin says men rule the household. Never seen that in my life. Of course you haven't. You might have seen it 100 years ago.
Not in your lifetime.
Yeah,
Yeah. But Ayam was just about to say 100 years ago, you would have been saying something different.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, again, that's just the slow decline. You know, like, for example, you know, when my parents got a divorce, growing up, I would see people getting divorced left and right, and I used to say, "Oh, my parents are never going to get a divorce. Thank God, my family's intact." And luckily, you know, for me, I was 18 when they finally got a divorce. But you know, it happens to everybody now. It's just commonplace.
Yes, and we're going to get into that actually. We're going to get into divorce, single motherhood, poverty, all that kind of stuff today because Lamprey sent me a lot of good information, and I have it all queued up for us to go through. But let's.
Well, before we start, so wait. So Rico said, what he said, martyrdom is what? Weak? Be selfish?
No, Elephant said that martyrdom is weak, be selfish. That was Sleeping.
Well, then what kind of fucking man are you? Are you gonna? Is that what you're gonna say to God when you die? Really? Really?
Well,
You know?
I responded to that when I said, you can say that now, but in the moment, that's really not where your maleness will take you. You know, like when
He's
that.
a man.
Yeah.
Are you gonna try shooting down the Japanese dive bomber? When you're faced with that, you're gonna cower. You're gonna be selfish. You wound up getting killed. You're the one that ran to the life raft when they were still shooting at you, and that one person decided to stand up
Yeah.
and say, "I got to do what's right."
Well, now.
You know, so
Nowadays.
that's the point I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I know. And nowadays, a lot of men. Okay, I want to give an example. I think of what Sleeping Elephant is saying, and this is something that I found. I had to unwash my mind in order to behave this way, and part of that sort of disposability, and it's a very, again, and I think this leans way more toward what Elephant is saying. I'm not talking about shooting at the Japanese, but a huge part of what male disposability is today is what is known as, what's some words, chivalry, or just a very gynocentric point of view where a man will sacrifice his own comfort for that of a woman. But there is no reward for that.
Taking a bullet during a mass shooting for a woman you don't even know.
Yes, yes. Not even taking a bullet, but I mean, just seeing a woman in distress and then coming to her rescue.
Well, this brings up the single mom.
Yeah, absolutely. This will come into that. But again, we're not talking about shooting down Japs in World War II. On a very basic and everyday level for most men, you're sort of expected to, when a woman is in distress, to step up, even if it's a total stranger. And as I became MGTOW in my life, I had to recondition my mind out of that, to the point now where if I saw a woman on the street getting beat up by another man, I would point, laugh, and walk the other way. And that's not something I could have done before, okay? But I can do it now. I can do it now. Because I don't owe that person anything. I don't owe that stranger anything. Especially not my health, my safety, and my life. And I have my own family. I have my own kid. I'm not going to risk
Well,
it for that.
because you feel like that now, women are in foxholes with gay men. You
Yes,
know,
let them be.
because say fuck it. You know, if they're that undisciplined, what I'm not sacrificing myself for this. I'm sacrificing myself for your dog and your avocado toast. Go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's I think that's really kind of the picture that we're looking at too, and that's more in line with what we're going to talk about. Excuse me, but we do need to go back to our alpha male of the week. Remember, we were going to do that. You there?
Yep. Go, premises for us.
All right. So basically, this is recent news. So we're not going to go back into history and find some great man. We're going to go into recent news. And I was trying to set this up on the OBS and I couldn't get it to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the music, read the article, then I'll come back and I'll show you guys to it and share a video of what happened. Okay. And this is from bestgore.com. In fact, you know what? I can even just post a link in the chats so you guys can look at it. Hey, Wolfman's in. My brother's in. How's it going, Wolfman? Avocado toast.
Wolfcock.
Wolfcock. Fuck. Okay. That's the link. I'm going to get this set up. Cue the music here.
Male greatness. This is going to be a new segment in our MGTOW chats.
Where is it? There it is. Okay, here we go. Now you should be able to hear that music.
Greatness.
In this
Forever legend.
In this week's spotlight on male greatness, we bring to you a Russian man whose only name is known as, what was it? Alexander.
Alexander.
And this is how the article goes. Russian man in bear cave for month, back broke and kept alive for snack. A Russian man was in a bear cave for a month. The bear broke its back and kept him for later. In Tuva, Russia, near the Mongolian border, a man called Alexander was found by hunting dogs. The hunters who saved him thought that he was dead, but he was actually alive. The man was rushed to hospital where they found that his back was broken. The man later told the doctors that he drank his own urine to survive. Doctors say that it's a miracle he didn't die. The man couldn't move his hands or legs, only blinks his eyes and speaks. It isn't known for how long he exactly was in the bear cave, but Alexander says that he was in there for about a month. It's known that bears kill their prey and bury it and later come eat it. They do it to hide their prey from other wild animals so it will be ready for eating. According to local sources, the man remembers his name but not his family name and age. The man had severe injuries and his body had already started to partially break down when he was found. It is a miracle that the man survived in such a situation. Now I'm gonna actually show you guys a video. Let me just fade the music out. I'm gonna share the screen with you and show you the video that's in there. It's insane.
Alpha male versus alpha bear.
Here we go. So share screen. Oops. Here we go. This is the video that came along with the article. You should be able to hear it.
Как тебя зовут?
Александр.
Руку подними.
Probably gonna get flagged for this shit.
Слышишь?
All right, so that guy was still alive, man. Found in a cave, a bear cave. The bear had broke his back and left him there for a snack. That's insane. And he lived.
Oh man, that's what. Thank God they found him. He was in the rural parts of Siberia, near Mongolia. So yeah, look, that is quite an amazing story. I'm sure he now certainly believes in God.
Yeah, no shit, man.
If he didn't to begin with, but it is a miracle. Miracles do happen, and that's how important life really truly is. But unfortunately, in North America, shooting a pregnant woman is double homicide. But if a father protests to her having an abortion, he has no say in that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's horrible. And we're going to get into that. I wanted to get into the topic at hand. And you called it single mom industrial complex.
Well, there's nothing but an industry behind it. The body of a single mom, it's all encompassing. There's many different organs within the body. You have the courts, you have the government agencies involved, you have the daycare, the preschool, the educational systems involved. You have therapists. You have real estate that's involved. You have a mass distribution of resources when a single mom is created. There's more traffic. There are so many factors that go into a single mom. I really don't think the average layman really truly understands how deep this really truly goes, and that's why it is a single mother industrial complex, because it is industrial. It's boilerplate. Every family gets broken up, it's always boilerplate. Okay, there's only a handful of factors in why she's actually leaving. Yeah. You lost your job, she's making more money than you. Okay, those are the two biggest, those are the crux, that's the mudsill on why she's leaving. It's her friends nagging at her that are also divorced. You should leave him. He's no good. I mean, she's in the office with a bunch of chads, okay? Right? You're usually working overtime. She's only working part-time. She has more time to just fucking, play around, sit on Facebook, do all these, trite, trivial things, so that's the single mother industrial complex in a sense, because it's a lot. And we can do live stream after live stream on this topic, but it's something that we haven't really discussed in detail. So that's basically why I wanted to get into it. Furthermore, Ayam, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary, and I played a lot of our old live streams back, and hang on. I realized all we usually did was rip on billionaire Jews, on our enslavement. Okay, but what we never discussed is the group of people in our society that no one likes, which is the poor. The middle class and the wealthy both have a disdain for the poor. Why? Okay, why do knee-jerk tradcons vote Republican? They hate people on welfare. They hate people that work off the books, right?
Yes.
They always, in some type of selfish way, they're like, look at you're shit. Get out of the way, right? But in a sense, why do people feel that way? Well, they're uncouth, they're not intelligent, they're sloppy, they're bludgeons, they're parasitic, they're criminal, and the far left knows how to antagonize this lowest common denominator in our society, and that happens to include the single mom.
Hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say too. There's I mean, I'm pretty sure all our listeners understand or are aware of the connection between single motherhood and poverty. It's been called the single most reliable indicator of poverty is children born out of wedlock to single mothers. The most reliable indicator. So, in other words, um, there's a lot of different factors that make up poverty. And there's a lot of different factors that kind of um, equate to a single motherhood or the breakup of the family. None of them natural. All of it engineered. But when it comes to predicting poverty, the easiest thing to do is go, oh, you're pregnant, you're going to give birth. Are you married? No. You got a husband or boyfriend? You know the father? No. Okay, you're going to be poor. 100%. You're going to be
Good
poor.
luck.
Yeah. Good luck to you. You're going to be living in poverty. You're going to be a pariah. That's why I've always said, and I continue to say, that single motherhood is the single biggest pariah in the modern Western world. There is
Still
no.
is.
Yes, it is. Today it is.
AM. It's worldwide.
Yeah.
You're never gonna get rid of the stigma of a single mom. I don't care how hard the left tries turning that over. Fucking putting glitter on this fucking diarrhea.
Piece of
You
turd.
can't glitter diarrhea. You
Yeah.
can't glitter it. I'm sorry. You can try glittering a turd. I'll give you that. But glittering diarrhea, you can't do
A
that,
pile
man.
of vomit.
The world over views women that way.
It's true, and it's not even just the view. You're right. In a lot of countries that aren't considered Western or industrial to the level that the Western countries are, single motherhood is really seen as it's very shameful. In the West, they do try to put glitter on that diarrhea, but it still is a pariah. I mean, it is the cause of so many problems. And in fact, if you could eliminate single motherhood, unmarried births, and single motherhood, if you could eliminate that, even to like where it's very rare, most of today's problems would disappear.
Yep.
Most poverty would disappear. Most violence would disappear. Um, most degeneracy, most drug use would disappear, and that's all. It's it all. There it is. Get rid of the single moms, and you solve society's problems. All right, that's how big of
And
a pariah it is.
no one touches it.
No, nobody wants to touch it. Nobody wants to touch it because if you touch that, you have to go. You have to go deeper. You have to go into law and family court systems. You have to get into concepts of men and women and the relationships they have. You have to address issues by men's rights and by MGTOW men. You have to actually pay attention to that, and they won't. They never will. Never. Not the right, not the left. None of them will do it. And now that they're on it, because I was thinking, like, where do we start with this topic? Because, like you said, you could do 1,000 live streams on it. And maybe just let me read off a couple statistics, and then we could try and go back to the beginning, I suppose. But there's a couple statistics I have here that you sent me. In 1980, 18.4% of all births in the U.S. were to unmarried women. In 2008, 40.6% of all births in the U.S. were to unmarried women. How the fuck does that happen? That's a over 20% increase in something that's supposed to be stigmatized, something that's supposed to be considered unhealthy or unwell,
Frowned upon.
frowned upon, a pariah. But how does that happen? That's social engineering at its finest. Yet it's celebrated. They most of the people that turned up at the pride parades this month were all single mothers, man.
Absolutely, totally agree with you.
Uh, this is today's statistics. 40% of all live births in the U.S. are to single mothers. 40%. 90% of welfare recipients are single mothers. That's fucking incredible. 70% of gang members, high school dropouts, teen suicides, teen pregnancies, and teen substance abusers come from single mother homes. If you want to go even further, most people, most children from the children that experience the most physical, mental, and sexual abuse come from single mother homes. And it often gets worse when the single mothers try to find another man to kind of pick up the scraps from the man that got away for whatever reason. Whether he was genuinely just an asshole and didn't want to be a part of it, which is a very small percentage. It's usually the woman choosing single motherhood, because single motherhood is chosen. And a lot of the times, when a new man is introduced into a home of a single mother, that's when real physical and sexual abuse happens to the children. And it's often instigated by the mother. So there you go.
30% of all single mother families are under the poverty line, compared to 62% of families with married parents.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to live in poverty, be born to a single mother. So this is the question: is what causes this to happen, really?
Well, where does it start? Where
Yes.
did it begin? That's look, and you're 100% right. I guess maybe one reason why we never bothered discussing this is because where do you actually truly start? Because the evidence is like a mountain. It's tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an avalanche of information just thrown at you when it comes to the single mom.
It's a giant elephant cock in the room, and you can't ignore it. Like, it's just there, and nobody wants to talk about it. You know, so I don't even know where to start. I mean, I've talked a lot about, obviously we talked to E. Michael Jones not long ago, and he talks about how the sexual revolution started it. You know, and his volumes, his tomes of work that he's already written date back, even the book I'm reading dates back to the French Revolution, to where it started, or where it was happening. It was still happening.
Well, it actually, it's funny because a lot of the social ills of North America, we'll lump Canada into this, obviously, because it's just the neighbor to the north. We're talking strictly United States now and Canada. Mostly 95% of this for the United States is a lot of the problems originated during the mid to late 60s, which E. Michael Jones was equating it to. It was the same. That's where it all started, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also when JFK was killed, you got LBJ. Now, mind you, LBJ was not elected. Okay, he was the vice president. It's not what the people wanted, and JFK got assassinated.
Yeah, JFK apparently got assassinated. You know, we've talked about this with Ed Chiarini.
The whole
thing,
going down the Chiarini.
Yeah, if we
Chiarini path.
We don't need to, but I'm just saying that you know, the part of social engineering.
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, the part
is JFK.
Absolutely, the part of social engineering we tend to forget are the actors that are engineering it. Okay,
don't forget that
they're writing history as we breathe. So anyway, but that's not important. Point is, according to history, JFK gets killed, which I believe he didn't, and then Lyndon B. Johnson becomes the president. All right, and then continue from there. Sorry.
Well, when LBJ in his State of the Union address during the 8th of 1964, he was quoted saying, "The administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America." It's the war on poverty. We all have heard this before, but this is where it comes from. The war on poverty.
The war on. What's the next war going to be on that'll be so successful?
The family.
Well, that one's already been going on.
So this administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America. I urge this Congress and all Americans to join me in that effort. Poverty is a national problem requiring improved national organization and support. But this attack too must be effective. Must also be organized at the state and local level. For the war against poverty will not be won in Washington. It must be won in the field, in every private home, in every public office, from the courthouse to the White House. There you go. So
That was the entire address.
that was the most important part that I got from it.
The prominent part of the address. Yeah, I read
Yeah.
over that, and we all know how war on things goes, don't we? War on
Our
drugs went
aim
really
is
good.
not Our aim is not only to relieve the symptoms of poverty, but to cure it, and above all, to prevent it. So here we go. This is the nanny state that comes rolling right in 1964, thanks to an unelected official. Okay,
No,
he was elected, obviously, but
yeah,
given the circumstance, he's not what the people wanted. Vice president doesn't really do anything. He's just there in case the president dies, more or less. He does some dignitary bullshit, traveling the world, but he's basically his role is very limited. Vice president's role is very limited. You can look that up for yourself. Doesn't do much. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is this originated in 1964. Now, obviously, the black community was the most susceptible to this targeting because they're retarded. I mean, it's black people. They always get this shit under the stick. And when they started, going after this, get this concept of war on poverty, the HUD was developed where you started having the projects. You have, stabilized rents. Obviously, Ben Carson is now the head of HUD. He hasn't really done much. But, now the other bodies of the federal government and the federal agencies can now get inside your house. And when you're poor and you ask for federal assistance, when you're asking for welfare, there are strings attached to that money. Okay? And one of those strings in the late 60s and early 70s was that the father cannot be present inside the house. Okay? That was mandatory. Okay, so welfare went right in between the father and his family, and these people that lived in the projects the father had to leave, go and work, not stay home, bring money back to the house where they lived in, government housing. Okay, they had to hide in order to see their families. They had to sneak in at night when the government officials weren't around. Okay, that's how bad it was. So you used to go there for 2 or 3 hours. Sneak into the house, make sure the government doesn't, a government official doesn't see the father in that house, because as soon as the official sees the father, the family loses the welfare. So they needed 2 incomes. The mother had to stay home. There was no concept of the woman, especially a black woman, going to work. Okay, so once wages started getting driven down, okay, the illiterate black woman who doesn't know anything, who barely went to school, she's going to take the welfare, okay, just out of necessity because things are so expensive. I mean, you're in government housing, what do you expect, right? But the most important part of it was this wedge between them, which was the check, the money, the government cheese.
Yeah, man. And it's interesting because that time, 1964, when he gave that address, I mean, that was really when feminism was kicking off as well.
Correct.
It
They coincide with one another, which is very strange.
Well, they had to. It was a 1-2 punch. I mean, if you're gonna social engineer, you need to coordinate your attack. Okay, we're gonna hit it up high. We're gonna hit it down low. All right, and you're gonna hit it at the same time. You want to put it to bed. Oh, we got. Hold on. We got Pete's F. I guess it'll be Pete's cock. And Pat Phoenix cock.
Phoenix cock, relax yourself.
Phoenix cock, that works. And terrain cock. Check back earlier in the stream when we were trying to imitate Owen Benjamin's way of naming all his listeners. But anyway, we'll continue on with what we were saying. Sorry.
Well, it was weaponizing welfare in a sense.
Yes.
And so once all these things started getting factored in, it was a 50-year slide, more or less. And coupled with, it's kaleidoscopic view. the wealth, the debt just skyrocketing. It's funny how the more single mothers there are, the more and more government spending goes up. I also
Yeah.
find that quite amusing.
Well, like I said earlier, it's not only was feminism being introduced, hardcore feminism being introduced at the time, but also the sexual revolution in the West was kicking into full gear, and all of that was part of it. Now, this is E.
Well,
Michael Jones stuff.
naturally, those that supported the bill were overwhelmingly from the North and Northeast, Boston and New York.
That's where
Okay,
the
and subjugating people of the South that are ultra conservative to these very, let's say, liberal concepts.
oh, and we all know that those areas up in the Northeast and such, uh, that's where most of the Zoroastrians live, right?
It's
Is that
always those Zoroastrians, man.
am I right or no?
Always. No, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, it was the WASP elite and the Jewish faction. We all knew this. Okay, E. Jones really crushes that out of the ballpark. How it was a war on Catholics. I happen to agree with that because I remember hearing as a child that Catholics, when I was little, I everyone around me was Catholic, right? So I always just assumed other parts of the United States were the same way. And then when I opened a textbook, a history book
Hmm.
on the United States, it said 75% like Protestant. I'm like, wow. So I don't know what a Protestant is. I have no idea what that is. And, this is the WASP elite, right? The evangelical party, those type of groups, those factions inside the United States. But, the Catholic birth rate was skyrocketing between the 1945 and 1965. So they had to figure out a way to how to stop that. And this is where contraception comes in,
Yes.
the welfare check, MK Ultra, where it's LSD for everybody, and Jimi Hendrix, free love, man.
Well, it was the early to mid '70s also that the APA changed their changed what they had considered homosexuality. They at the time it was considered a mental illness. I mean, that might not be the correct term nowadays, but yeah, it was considered a mental illness brought on by severe stress of either sexual abuse or a horrible relationship with the father. That was written up. It was part of the APA. Now, been destroyed. Doesn't exist. And that was all done under pressure of Jewish lobby groups. Okay, and the same thing is starting to happen with gender dysphoria or transgenderism. So all of that got hit. Now remember, this is when the boomers were born, right?
Yep.
Right after the boomers were born, or right during where they were being born, and they got hit with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch, man. Everything. The war on poverty, redefining homosexuality. What they called second wave feminism, but it wasn't. It was just feminism. Let's not forget too, no fault divorce.
That was in the 80s.
Yeah, that was coming in the 80s. What else? There was. It's just tons
Deadbeat
of this.
father.
Yeah.
Deadbeat father came during the Reagan administration. That was where the welfare, the government cheese, merged with the conservatives, with the Republicans, and that was also under Reagan in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Where did the term deadbeat father come from? It came during the Reagan administration, where now the government has a moral authority to do something. That's when that changed. When did the government become a moral authority? It was under Reagan, and it was through the single mother industrial complex.
Right.
Okay, where you shame the father. You shame the father into paying alimony and child support. Okay.
Yes.
That the conservatives are like, well, we have to do something about all these single fathers, because that's when feminism also merged with the right, the tradcon right.
Yes.
Okay, she's a victim. He's a bad man. You have to do something, government. And here comes Reagan, Superman, and fucking everyone, Sean Hannity sucking his dick.
Well, that's another.
So that came.
That's another big part of it was the Duluth model, which was the model set up for the Nooch police training for domestic violence, DV.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about that.
You don't know about the Duluth model?
I've heard it so many times. I thought I know it.
Yeah, it was just a model for domestic violence, and that was the early '80s as well. And basically, what it meant was that whenever, again, the the, the common thread that we're seeing here, gentlemen, is that more and more state encroaching on the private lives of citizens in every aspect, in their bedrooms, where they stick their dicks, who they marry, how they stay married, the children they have, all of that. And again, attack on the family, because that all is based in the family. But yeah, the Duluth model is because it was from Duluth, Minnesota, and it was in the early '80s where they finally said and wrote into law that basically what it comes down to is whenever the domestic violence is an issue in the household, we need more state involved. And how did they approach it? They said when there is a call to a domestic home for a domestic dispute, the man will be arrested on site and taken away. Done. That's how they.
Wow.
Yes, yes. So when a police officer comes, if there's a domestic, okay, I'll give you an example. If a woman, and it's usually women calling the police because they know nowadays, they know that it's on their side. Women know this.
Yeah,
Women
they
know
know
this.
it.
Women know this, and this is why the MGTOW argument of all women are like that is relevant. Is because all women know
Yeah.
that if they call the police, they win. Okay, it doesn't matter if you just stabbed your husband in the throat while he slept. It doesn't matter. If you call the police, you will not be arrested. Okay, and all women are like that because. Let me ask you a question. If you knew that you had the full weight of the law on your side, wouldn't it make it more tempting to abuse that? Because after all, we are just human.
Get on the fucking ground!
Yeah.
Resist it!
Can you imagine if that was on your side? Okay? All you had to do was pick up a phone and say, hey, this guy pissed me off. Like, how much would that change?
Wouldn't it be nice for a police officer, a fellow man, to side with you? Oh, but your blue lives matter. Your blue lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
You see? He's not going to give a fuck about your bumper sticker, white man, when he shows up because she started arguing with you that you used the wrong credit card to buy a Big Mac with.
Yes, yes. And, you know, what's his name? Bill Burr did a comedy act on it. Where he used to joke about how he's like, could you imagine if I had that kind of power? And I don't remember the joke specifically, but basically he was putting himself as a man in the shoes of a woman and how much power she has in that sense, with the state behind her completely. And his joke was, yeah, I'd be at the gym, I'd walk up to the biggest guy in the gym, smack the protein shake out of his hand, and go, what are you gonna do about it? You know, just that's what he's joking about, is the level of power you have when you have that authority behind you. And obviously his joke came down to, and it was all around the Duluth model. He didn't say the Duluth model, maybe he didn't know about the Duluth model, but basically what he was saying is that even without the Duluth model, society does not accept men physically attacking women. Right? It's built into them. You don't even need the Duluth model. The Duluth model just simply adds fuel to the gynocentric fucking bonfire.
It gives this mouth teeth.
Yes, it gives the dog's barks some bite. Absolutely. Not just bite, but like we're talking pit bull level. You know? Pit bull
She can
level
just call
bite.
the cops.
Yes.
She just call the cops and get you killed.
Yes.
And have you fucking killed. And we're going to cover that on another stream where it's the falling down effect.
Yes.
Like the movie with
Yes.
Michael Douglas.
Perfect movie.
And that's happening on scales that you can't even imagine. No one wants to touch it. But on this live stream, we will touch the falling down effect and get a little bit more into the nitty gritty where guys are just saying, fuck it, I'm burning the house down, I'm killing the dog, I'm going to kill the kids right in front of you.
Yes.
After I kill your mother. Because fuck it, if I'm gonna be robbed for the next 30 years, I'm just gonna take everything you ever loved.
And that goes into that's a good point because Michael Jones said that too when he brought it up. I brought it up to him when we talked about it because he's like, look, if you continue to manipulate uh, families and men and just he always used the term logos. If you continue to manipulate outside of logos and push people, if you back good men into a corner, what do you think's going to happen?
The unreasonable. Sometimes reasonable men must have to do unreasonable things.
Yeah, man. That's like the bull. What was it called? The
Killdozer.
Killdozer, man. We talked about Killdozer.
The Killdozer effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's the falling again. The Killdozer falling down.
The falling down
where
effect.
right, and it's not a. It is something that is quite serious because you keep driving this wedge. I mean, literally, you just got robbed. You're paying welfare, and she doesn't deserve it. Everything that's gone wrong is her fault. You know it, but only you are feeling this pain. No one's sympathizing with you. What do you think is going to happen? He has no support whatsoever. His family's yelling at him, and her family is yelling at him.
I was just thinking, man. These social engineers, these fucking Zoroastrians and the rest of their lackeys they're a part of this bullshit, that are pushing these agendas, that are pushing towards gynocentrism with teeth, towards just sexual deviancy, destroying the family to the level where men just can't, they won't have it anymore. They should be thanking their goddamn satanic blessings that men aren't actually acting out on that, and instead, what do most men do? They kill themselves. Most men actually.
You have to go your own way. Don't kill yourself, but go your own way.
Yes, but that's what's happening. Men have this. This is the thing, and I think this is where it comes from. Men have this natural and biological sense of disposability, which, in a sense, because of our biology, it does make sense when there's reciprocation. Okay, when it's worth it, when it's valued by society around. However, when you take away that value and all you have left is men's disposability with no reward, no value, okay, what's happening? Men are killing themselves. Right? They don't want to take innocent lives. Most men would rather take their own life and avoid the pain. And this is what is happening. This is where disposability comes in, where it's so undervalued. It's not just undervalued, it's shamed. It's just you are the carpet under their feet. So when this happens, men are killing themselves, and the people that are in charge, M says, who are the Zoroastrians? When the Zoroastrians, they should realize and feel very thankful that that's what men are doing. Because the moment they stop using suicide as a way out and go, you know what, I am going to survive, and I have value, and I'm not going to accept male disposability. Eventually, what's going to happen is that's when they're going to put bulletproof steel plating on a bulldozer and drive through town hall. And that's what they're most terrified about.
Yes, they are. They are very terrified about it. There's no question. They're just buying more guns. Every time I see something fucked up in the news, I just buy more ammo. That's all you have to do. It's like buying a stock. Just keep up. What was that? Okay. Something wild just happened. You just gotta be prepared.
Well, that's what I'm saying is for all the men listening, my friend Grim's in. It's good to see you, buddy. He's saying the male suicide rates are up to more than 80%. I don't know that statistic, but I do know that they are 4 or 5 times more likely than any woman to do it.
Factor in drug overdoses also.
True, very true. Unintentional suicide, very true.
Yes.
But the point is, men, is that men are killing themselves in droves because they have been not only biologically considered the disposable gender, but now there is no value to your disposability. It's done. It doesn't
Right.
exist. Michael Jones said, "Why do you think these kids are shooting up schools? Why the fuck do you think these boys are shooting up schools? They're told that they're disposable and have no value. It's beat into them. They're raised by single mothers. All right,
Yep.
no father influence. They will be pushed to drugs, bad lifestyles, etc. They're pushed in a corner. They're told that you can be a girl if you want to be. They're told that sodomy is the way to go. I mean, come on. This is the backlash to the corruption that is being pressed up against us every single day. And single motherhood is just one part of that sick puzzle, which is kind of what we're focusing on. Grim, I made you a moderator, so make sure you come in when you can, buddy. Oh, and M, the Zoroastrians, that's one of our words for Jews, and we find it funny.
We're rolling with that from now on. It's PC, man.
Who do you Lamprey, who owns Hollywood?
Zoroastrians.
Zoroastrians, that's right. Zoroastrians, man.
It's how many single moms do you know in Canada?
Too many. All of them.
Personally, do you know any?
Okay, I knew single mothers before. I think that every woman I knew that had kids, and I mean almost every single one that had children, was not married or did not live with the father of that child.
Wow.
Almost every
That's
single
staggering.
one. Yeah. I would say easily 80%. 80%. And I live in a small town, and that hasn't changed. That has not changed. And they are the loudest voices out at the gay pride parades.
They need dick is what they need.
Yeah, I think
They're miserable.
They need incarceration.
A woman who doesn't get fucked for more than like fucking 5 years is just a miserable shrew. Miserable.
That's why
they're the loudest, angriest. They don't know how to be direct with what it is they want. They're indecisive. They're rudderless. They're retarded. They're children.
Yeah, well, in the late part of the 19th century, there was a medical condition that doctors called hysteria, and it was usually prescribed to unmarried women or widows, and it was women that went crazy because they weren't getting fucked. And that's where the name hysteria comes from. And you know what? Do you know that it was because of that medical condition of hysteria that doctors invented the vibrator?
No.
Yes. I'm not fucking kidding you, man. The vibrator was invented because doctors had to come up with something to help alleviate this emotional or mental condition in these spinsters or in these widows that they called hysteria. And they said, holy fuck, what are we going to do with these spinsters? What are we going to do with these widows? Well, we can't. We have to come up with some machine, and that's where the vibrator was invented. That's fact. That is absolute fact.
2 seconds. I'm going to get something to drink.
All right. Yes, that is absolute fact. You guys can look it up. But on another note too, going back to religion again. Not even religion. I don't even like to call Islam a religion because it's not. But anyway, going back to my Islamic background, the solution in Islam to spinsters and widows who suffered from hysteria, guess what the solution was to that? It was polygamy. Polygamy cured hysteria. But the Westerners think, and the Westerners and the very strong Catholic or Christian ones go, oh no, that's horrible for society. Polygamy is no good. No, it's not. It's actually really good. It saves lives. It's a cure to single motherhood. Actually, the only reason polygamy can't work in today's society is because we live in a society where it's impossible. It cannot. It's been governed, put into law, that even if a man was allowed to have more than one wife, then they'd all just divorce him and take all his money. So it can't work because there is no benefit for that man's sacrifice. There's none. It doesn't exist. Okay? Does not exist. So yeah, if you want to talk about the insanity of single mothers, and I know it was Lamprey who brought it up and said, yeah, they're not getting fucked. Yeah, maybe he's right, and there's evidence for that. But I really doubt it, man. There's enough thirsty pieces of shit men out there swiping on Instagram that'll find any woman to fuck them. I mean, even the incels got to get laid, right? So I'm sure they're not. And besides, I mean, a woman's sexuality is so accepted by society. They all have 25 toys. They're not suffering from hysteria anymore. That's not the problem anymore. Anyway, you back, Lamprey? Oh, he's not back. I'm going to go through some of the comments. Yes, the Jews, M. It is the Jews. You know who they are. I had a coworker say that all the time, every time he heard a Democrat scream on the radio, he would say, yep, time to buy more bullets.
All right. I'm back. Sorry, man.
No problem.
I was parched. I had cotton mouth, naturally.
Well, you know.
Coast, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
What were you talking about?
Well, I wanted to say, you heard what I said about the concept of where the name hysteria came from, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, that's a true fact. And the one thing I said to the listeners that you missed is that, do you know what the Muslim cure for hysteria was?
Rape?
Polygamy. It's polygamy. That was the Muslim cure for hysteria. There was no spinsters. There was no widows. Remember, the disposability of males is always exists biologically. And in an agrarian society, men often had to go off. People lived shorter lives. Men's lives were harder, especially in that part of the world and many parts of the world. So a lot of women were left widowed with children. How do you cure hysteria? Polygamy. And it worked. It fucking worked. But you can't do it now.
Yeah, but you have too many men that are alive. But that's a big MGTOW argument about the reason why you can't get laid is that hundreds of years ago most men died in combat, and so there was more men to women.
No, there was more women to men.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, there's more women to. That's a natural. That's just life. That's how life has always been. And if you didn't want society to degrade under those conditions, you had to have polygamy. If you didn't have polygamy at that time, society would have degraded. Because then what would you have? Spinsters, widows, and single mothers. And the answer
That's right.
And the answer to that at that time was polygamy. I know you can't do that today, but at that time that was the answer to it, and it worked. It absolutely worked.
They're such birds, man. Women are birds. The welfare state has single-handedly destroyed this country. If you take huge, factors that are ruining this country out, if you take the Federal Reserve out, that would probably cure the United States. If you were to take the welfare recipient out of the United States, that would be a huge one. If you removed most blacks and Hispanic people, that would cure the United States. All these things would, in fact, really change society for the better. Instead, it's this low-grade satanic force permeating through every societal, function. Every societal function is kind of have this malaise, far left social engineering appendage to it. If you deposit something evil into every section of society, that's kind of where we're at. Where it's just there's these multiple fires.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, man. And that's God. The welfare state. When we started to get onto this topic, remember I said, where do you start, right? Where the fuck do you start? It's a goddamn mess. And when you say the welfare state is the cause of this, yes, you're right. You're not wrong, but you're not 100% right either. There were so many factors that were put into this social engineering. For example, um, I don't know how much you know about engineering, Lamprey. I know almost nothing. My mother's millionaire boyfriend does, though. He's an engineer, retired. But when it comes to engineering, let's say physical engineering of I don't know, a skyscraper, a couple towers that you
Very
want,
impressive.
right?
Manly,
Yeah,
alpha male.
yeah, a couple giant cock towers that you want to bring down in the future. There's a lot of things that go into it. You have to think about the material. You have to think about uh, the the design,
Labor. Oh
labor.
God, real estate development is so fucking complicated.
Exactly. So how complicated do you think social engineering is?
But that's a good. You know what? It took many decades. Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation. Okay, all these foundations sunk a lot of money into studying how to weaponize.
And that's on
Uh,
record. That shit is on
yeah,
record.
it's on record.
Yes. They sank a lot of money into psychiatry, psychology. They gave birth to one of the greatest Zoroastrian psychologists of all time. Um, what was his name? Freud. And all of this.
That was even longer. That was even before a lot of these problems. But yes, it started all the way
No,
back then.
yes, it was going on back then, man. Those families was lived back then, and it was going on back then. They spent tons of money on. Okay, like I said, I made the comparison. You want to, if you're a civil engineer, and you want to engineer a couple of towers that you want to bring down 50 years into the future. Imagine how much time and money and knowledge goes into that shit. And then you think about social engineering. It's not just welfare. Welfare is like maybe the foundation, the concrete poured in the foundation. That's one part of this design. So it's really hard to take it back. And honestly, to our listeners, if you really want a good idea, go back and go listen to E. Michael Jones, man. He's done all
You
the
know who's
work.
Hector? You know who's really good on this topic? Stefan Molyneux. You
There you
can
go.
go to him about that.
There you go. Hey, Traversable's in. So we got Traversable. Traversable. Also, I wanted to mention to anybody new listening, we're following the Owen Benjamin script in that I'm taking my totem animal, which is a cock, and all of my followers will now be have the suffix cock in their name. So you'll be Traversable Cock, and
M-cock.
M Cock is in there, and Grim Cock. I forgot Grim. You are now Grim Cock. Okay.
Is Beamer cock still in there?
I don't know. Beamer Cock might have left. Oh, I didn't see Traversable. You've been here for a while, man. Sorry, I missed your other comments. Traversable Cock. Phoenix Cock is there too. I'm Big Cock because it's my channel. And
Pound the likes, you thought cocks.
pound the likes. Pound the likes, brothers. Well, anyway, you were saying Molyneux is good at the.
Yeah, he's very good with single moms. He's had so many videos on that shit.
Do you know the guy that did the dork stream?
Oh yeah.
I subscribed to him after that because it was so fucking good.
Me too.
He did a video on how he thinks Molyneux is a fucking sociopath.
Oh, he's nuts. Molyneux's a nut job.
Yeah, warrior cock.
Isn't it funny? Jordan Peterson and him did not get along.
Who?
Peterson and Molyneux.
Oh, I'm sure they wouldn't. That's two narcissists clashing heads.
Nah, Peterson's all right.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's a good. I don't mind him. He's not Molyneux. He's very different.
No, you're right. He's different. He's absolutely different. Now,
he's genuine. Well, what are some of the things I wrote? I wrote down a bunch of stuff and I sent it to you. One of the big things I wrote that I took note of during my studies on the single mom industrial complex is the outsourcing of the father's role and the mother's role to state and corporate entities, and how the family unit is in fact obsolete
Yes.
To this brave new world that we're in.
Well, not only is the family unit obsolete, which is we might call it the traditional family unit, man, woman, child. Uh, just that family, the model of the family unit is under attack. Okay, so now it's like two men and a child, two women and a child is a family, and now it's getting so goddamn insane that it can be a man who thinks he's a woman and a woman who thinks she's a dog and a cat, and that's a fucking family. So get
Or segregacy.
what's that?
Segregacy now. The rising, having children having a
Surrogacy,
segregate
surrogacy, yeah,
surrogacy, yeah.
surrogacy, yeah.
That's huge. I hooked up with this woman in Cambodia. The last Western woman I actually hooked up with was about a 41, 42-year-old Irish woman from Ohio, and she worked for diehard communist, and I knew she was kind of easy pickings, and she looked fairly good for someone her age. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a spin. And she was a single mom.
He's thirsty. He's thirsty.
Yeah, I wanted it. Yeah. Right? And
Okay.
I said, fuck it, I'll pretend I'm a communist. I'll play along with this. And what's so funny is all I used to do was talk conspiracy and Jewish subversion with all my friends drinking coffee, again, where I learned a lot of these things was through my friends in Cambodia. And they see me at like the Democratic National, like a meeting hub, right? And my friends are like, they're like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're a spy. You're a plant. And they're saying this in front of all these Democrats too. Don't listen to him. He's a fucking fascist. This guy's completely nuts. It was so funny, man. My friends blew up my spot when they saw me, like rubbing elbows with the liberals. It's fucking great. And so anyway,
Was her name Ocasio?
No, she wasn't. She was Irish. She was Irish.
Oh, okay.
And but what's funny is how they just blew my spot up just because of where I was and stuff. But anyway, she worked for the UN. And she was a single mom. So the kid was 100% Irish, red hair. Okay, it was a girl. And she was obsessed with the, obvious, LGBT pride, all that other bullshit. She's all on board for it. She's an independent woman. Okay, she had a nanny that looked after the daughter because she had a big salary. Okay, so again, we pay the nanny because I'm a career woman to look after my daughter. And I asked her, I didn't want to ask you about you being a single mother and stuff. She was like, it's all right. I had her made in Bangkok. I was like, what? What are you talking about? She goes, yeah, I did a sperm donor, Irish
Shit.
guy. And that's what she did. I was like, so let me get this straight. You got a sperm donor from Bangkok that was from an Irishman. She goes, yeah. I go, well, what the fuck was an Irishman doing in Bangkok donating sperm? Yeah, donating sperm. Cost her $12,000.
Couldn't she do it here, or was it cheaper there?
How about just fucking an Irish dude?
Well, no, of course, obviously, but then again, that takes responsibility. It takes consequence for your actions with another person, another living person. I can understand why, if she had the money, she might just say, or maybe she's probably gender confused or sexually confused because she's a fucking liberal woman and thinks
Well,
that.
I find it's just it's like somehow it's like a big fuck you, kind of like, why wouldn't you just get fucked by a dude? It blew my mind. I never met someone like that before, mind you. And mind you, this is the last Western woman I hooked up with.
And you were trying to get with this chick? You fucking out of your mind?
Well, we hooked up. It was a one night extravaganza. But I was just,
Did
I
you
was
did
horrible.
you wear a condom?
Yes, I wore a condom.
Did you take it with you when you left? Because she might have your kid, and then when was that?
No, it was a long time ago. It was 2 years ago.
Okay, so
3.
she would have already had your kid by now, so you should be all right.
No, it was a disaster in bed with her.
Okay.
It was a disaster.
You didn't come at all.
No, I came.
Ooh, dangerous. Danger. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is that this rise in just bypassing the male altogether. So the last Western woman I hooked up with, did this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which says a lot if you put all things into perspective. That they just outsource the man. Let me just get his money. And basically, what's also fucked up is that men that are tax paying aren't getting a blowjob out of this.
No.
Like, look, I'm getting all this money to subsidize women that are nasty shrews. Can I at least get a blowjob?
I bet if they brought Sharia in, they'd make that a law. All tax-paying males get blowjobs. You think so?
That would be nice. Wouldn't they have it somewhere?
No, I'm just saying if they brought Sharia in, they'd put their fist down and go, okay, all Muslim men get blowjobs that pay taxes.
Colombia, 85% of children born out of wedlock.
Where?
Colombia.
Yeah, it's an epidemic, and
It is global.
It's global, but the countries where it's happening the most are all Catholic, right?
Yep.
That's what a lot of people don't want to talk about either. All the countries where it's predominantly Christian or Catholic, that's where all the single motherhood is happening.
And those are the most violent countries too.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that shit, man.
Yeah, next time we talk to E. Jones, we that's what I originally I wanted to talk to him about.
Now we'll bring it up.
He'll get butthurt.
Yeah, he would get butthurt over that.
Well, anyway, the other thing, the other factor, the other thing I was researching on is psychologist, because once you outsource the role of the family, you have all these institutions now involved in the upbringing of the child. This is the corporatism part comes into it. These child daycare centers. These children are unable to bond. They don't live together. They don't even live on the same street.
Yes.
You're corralled 25 kids in one room, before the age of 4. That's really bad.
Yes.
That's really bad.
Well, another thing that you mentioned too is that is the maturity of the single mothers, and again, this goes back into poverty and how when we started this off, you said that on either side they hate the poor, and the reasons are is because the poor. Well, some of the reasons are so the poor tend to be uneducated. What else did you say? Uneducated, unclean. I don't know if that's a fair description. Parasitic, lazy.
Embracing jigaboo culture.
Okay.
That's the saddest part of it all. How did white trash merge with black people? How did that happen? The promotion of rap music, the bad boy.
Social engineering.
Absolutely. Weaponized anthropology.
The Bergs. The Zoroastrian Bergs. But yeah, what I was saying is that you mentioned how the poor are kind of despised on all, from either side, and it has to do a lot with not being educated. This is another telltale sign of single motherhood. It is definitely not the number one, and it's definitely not primary, but definitely among most single mothers, they lack an education. I think you gave me some articles on that.
Yeah, I wrote some really good shit down here during the week. Mothers make up for the loss of fathers where she depends on outside influence because she lacks guidance in raising children. These outside influences are perpetuating the cancer. So think of Suboxone for someone that's addicted to oxycodone,
Yes.
right? You're perpetuating the problem, right?
Yeah.
By attacking causes, you create whole new branches of bureaucracy, HR departments, probation officers, and psychologists. This, by definition, the nanny state. You look at juvenile courts where without a trial, you turn your child over to state power instead of dealing with it in-house. So I wrote that a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that was pretty profound.
Yes, and it ties in with some of the articles that you sent me about that. Again, dealing with poverty and single motherhood. I want to go to that one you sent me by the Daily Signal. It was in the page you sent me. It's called. It says price of unwed births far greater than the hospital bills. I'll share it with you guys here if you want to read along with me. I'll just go through a couple of it. This is an older article, but relevant. Price of unwed births far greater than the hospital bills. A recent piece in the Wall Street Journal noted that unintended pregnancies likely cost the federal and state government more than $11 billion a year. Okay, just think about that number for a second. Unintended pregnancies, based on research published by the Brookings Institution. A major reason for the cost to government, notes the author, is that women who unintentionally, that's the word, women who thoughts basically, who like to spread their legs without a fear of consequence, get pregnant, unintentionally get pregnant, are more likely to be low income, and thus are more likely to be eligible for government-financed medical care. The Brookings report also noted that the majority of 57% of these births are to women who are unmarried. Okay, over 50% of these unintentional births are to unmarried women, which is one of the greatest predictors of child poverty in the United States today. A strong link between unwed childbearing and poverty creates little wonder that the majority of births to unmarried women are financed by Medicaid. It's a money-making machine, man. Do you not see that? Like, how deep does the social engineering go? To the point where you're educating money makers. That's all you're doing. It's just this unstoppable thought baby making machine that just keeps going into Medicaid, going into Medicaid. It's incredible, man. And it says the costs don't stop at birth. Well, and sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, just again, you're in debt. Why? You're in debt to her. You're in debt to the gynocentric craze that Western males are perpetuating. The lust, the thirst for it, because it's very sick what the Zoroastrians are truly doing. Okay.
Yes.
And let me explain to you. And this is the most frightening aspect of this. This is what scares me the most. Is you're getting it's a walking contradiction. You're being blasted with sex between pornography, social media, advertisements, all over the place. Sexy young women everywhere, right? Yet, at the very same time, there's a Me Too movement. You have the government in your bedroom, police officer right there pointing a gun to you. If you were to knock her up and she decides to run away,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like you're being punished for something that you want. Meanwhile, we're pumping what it is you want to your psyche.
Yeah, it's cognitive dissonance, is what it
Yes,
is.
cognitive dissonance.
It's really it's just driving down society to a level where it's depraved, and uncurable. Really, I mean, I think the goal of this weaponized anthropology is to reach a level of uncurability. It can't be cured. It'll reach a level of a point of no return.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already there. I think it's already there. Now we're just, riding the wave down, I guess.
Maybe you could be right. I'm not going to say either way, but you could absolutely be right. Now, if you talk to people like E. Michael Jones or Sam Gerrans, or the people that I like to talk to on a level where you're thinking about this on a much higher level, much more spiritual level, We're looking at the second Sodom. We're looking at the second flood, and honestly, I think that the intention behind these people. Because do you remember, Lamprey, that after we had the talk with Andy Nowicki, he did a video and was really kind of like emotionally uh, affected by what we talked about, and it had to do with why are these people doing this? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What was it exactly? It was why he understood that there were people that obviously are responsible for this. This is not organic. You have to be a complete fucking clown fool to think this is some kind of organic part of monkey evolution.
Oh well, he's very red pilled, Nowicki. He's far more red pilled than me. He's really out there.
Hmm. But he had a hard time trying to understand as to why is this happening? What is the
I like
goal?
I told him they're psychopaths, and he felt like that was kind of, I guess, a vague answer or a hollow answer. But in fact, that's what they really truly are. They have no empathy. They're horrible, horrible people.
Right. We
It's just, and society rewards this behavior. Okay, and this is where I digress with a lot of the, this top down approach, is that it could also be from a bottom up approach. Is that the society is a reflection on the government is a reflection on the society, is what I'm saying. Okay, you look at other nations and they are the way they are because of the people, the culture as a whole. But the problem is in the United States is that this is where it's fascist. Okay, this is where it's fascism. The corporation, which is controlling the money flow, is also appendage to the United States government,
right,
and there's a profit motive involved,
right.
right? And that's basically why it is the way. That's why you have Procter Gamble promoting Gillette razor for the tranny, or global tranny gets a Gillette razor. At the very same time, within the past year prior to that, commercial was what was it? The best the man can get, where it was like what was it? It was like a
Toxic
Me Too
masculinity.
commercial.
Toxic
Yeah,
masculinity. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. So and where are you gonna go? Where you gonna get a straight razor? Try bringing down Procter Gamble. It's global.
Yeah. Well, he thinks the one thing that Andy was saying was like it's suicidal for everybody. Nobody wins. This was his argument. To promote this kind of living, this kind of way of life or living, or just this nihilism is it's unwinnable. Nobody wins. Everybody dies. Okay, basically, right? Like why are they playing this game if we all die? Okay, and that's the argument of most people that tend to be materialistic, see the world in a much more atheistic or materialistic way, where that you're born of random consequences. Your life really doesn't have a meaning. Like, really, what is your meaning if you uh, just came from some random explosion and happened to see entropy work in reverse and chaos become something creative? Like, how can you possibly see any design in a life like that? Well, you can't. So you got to use your imagination and try to make it up, right? And you see, if you come from that point of view, then I think that's where Andy's having a problem. Because the reality of it is that no, this is not. We're not fucking random mutations from a cosmic explosion. I'm sorry. All right, I'm really sorry for everybody listening who doesn't believe that, but we're not. And the reality is that there is an agenda to this life, a very large, focused agenda, and a meaning to it. There's an actual meaning to it. So that's why people don't get it, man. They don't get it. Like, why? Everybody's a loser. No, actually, there's not. Not everybody's a loser because the winners know exactly what they're doing. Death is not an end, and there's an agenda to it all. I don't want to get too much into that side of it because I know a lot of our listeners kind of probably don't, you know, their minds kind of reject that shit. But I'm just saying that's the reality of it. There's an agenda that goes far beyond just I win, you lose because you live and I die, or I live and you die. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out, and I think that's the problem Andy was having with it.
Well, the question is why, and no one really knows. And that's
I do.
the beauty of it.
I know why.
Why?
If I told you, nobody would understand. I'll save it for another show. I'll save it for a show with somebody that knows what I'm talking about. Because I know why. I know exactly why. And so does fucking E. Michael Jones. He knows why. He knows exactly why. There's a lot of people that do know why.
I say it's evil. I think that makes me believe in good and evil.
Evil is a very simplistic way of saying it, but evil has a motive. Has a very true and serious motive. And it goes beyond life and death. But I don't want to get that heady with people today.
But doesn't good always prevail, Ayam?
Not in the physical world.
That is true.
Not in the physical world. Good does not always prevail in the physical world. But to the atheist or the materialist, there is only the physical world. You see? That's the difference. That's where their logic and common sense ends. It can't go beyond that. Okay? Because they are random. There's really no true deep meaning to their life except for their own consciousness, which is very narcissistic and very materialistic. But that's just, if that's what they choose to believe, that's how they're going to live their life. But you're right.
Well,
Evil is a part, but it goes deeper than that, but you're right. Anyway.
Well, going back to the single mom here, unwed mothers desire having children. One of my great mentors told me. I was rambling on. I was being blue pilled, and I was going on and on to an older male about women, and he was just frustrated, either just having a rough day or just frustrated with the topic of the conversation. He goes, "Look, there's two things you need to know about women. One is they want to get pregnant. Two, they want to know they can get pregnant again. Okay, that's it. Case is closed. All right." And a lot of these unwed mothers, in fact, wanted to have a child.
Yes.
It wasn't exactly planned, but it wasn't exactly avoided either. And you might disagree with me, but I honestly don't think women use contraceptions. And obviously, abortion is on the uptick.
Have you heard?
But women actually do want to have children. Go on.
Have you heard of sperm jacking?
Yeah, of course, dude.
I mean, if these, there's a meme going around, and I'm sure my listeners have heard it before, of a screenshot from some chick from a thought, I think probably a black thought, not black. There's no such thing as black anymore. It's all mulatto. Some mulatto thought going, "I really wish we could choose our baby daddies." That's it. That's the fucking meme. Is one thought's fucking tweet, and it's so well does it encompass what's happening today. I wish we could choose our baby daddy. Of course they can. They do. She didn't want that daddy to be the daddy of her baby, but maybe the next one, or the next one, or the next one. I mean, the concept of the sperm jack.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
I was just going to say, guys, the concept of sperm jacking is enough to know that women can choose when and how they get pregnant. And again, this is a tired old conversation with MGTOW, especially old MGTOW like me, is the number of contraceptives available to women nowadays is over a dozen, and they're mostly inexpensive or free. So, yeah, nobody here listening is fool enough to believe that women are, as this article I just read said, unintended pregnancies. It's in quotes, and you wonder, like, what do you mean when you say unintended? She didn't stand up on the top of a mountain and go, "I'm going to get pregnant today." No, it's unintended because she decided she wanted to get pregnant, but wasn't sure if she really wanted that guy to be the father. But because she's got a baby, well, guess what? She's got guaranteed income, guaranteed social and family support, no shame, No problem. No such thing as unintended pregnancies, my friend. None.
Had to get wood on the fire.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying to the listeners, there's no such thing as an unintended pregnancy.
No.
It doesn't exist.
No such thing. Does not exist.
Yeah. Which is why that whole article I was reading, I was just saying is, they have to quote that because it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as an unintentional pregnancy. As soon as you spread your legs, regardless of your access to birth control, you know that you are intending to get pregnant, or the chance of it is there. So it's insane, man. There was one article you sent me that was really good about. It was talking about how the solutions to it, and I think it actually might be this woman here. Yeah, let me actually read a little bit more from this. In fact, women from low-income neighborhoods report that a lack of access to birth control is not why they became pregnant. Again, same article. This is coming from the women themselves, from a survey. It wasn't that, hey, oh my God, you poor woman, you must not have had access to birth control. You couldn't get condoms, you couldn't get birth control. You poor woman, how did you get pregnant? They go, actually, no, I had fucking condoms. I had birth control pills. I had IUDs. I had every avenue to not get pregnant.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Many reported they wanted to have a child, or at least that their becoming pregnant was not completely unintentional. Again, no such thing. However, while these women may be well versed in birth control, the message on the importance of marriage is often never heard. Young people in low-income communities are never told, okay, well, who's responsible for the education of a child, Lamprey?
The state. Taxpayer.
Yes, the state and the taxpayer, but, I mean, in a better world, who is?
The father.
Yeah, the parents.
Right.
Most importantly, the father, but both parents. But when you come from a society where there is no father, then how can anybody be responsible for teaching these women about birth, pregnancy?
Well, living in Southeast Asia, the man is pretty much useless. He's like he lives the life like a lion. I don't know how to describe it, but he just lounges around and does nothing.
But he's
all
not
day.
useless. He's not useless. You say that, but he's
totally
not.
useless.
No, he's not, man.
Totally.
No, he's not.
He is disposable.
He's always disposable. In every culture,
Yeah.
a man's disposable, but he's not useless. He serves a purpose, and in fact, he still has the right. For a lion, what does a male lion do? If another pride, if he goes into another pride or another pride comes into him, he kills all the kids. He's not useless. He's not useless. He has a purpose, and he can still educate the children that he has, and he still has a right to do that, right? You know who the real useless males are? Western men. Absolutely useless. They're not even allowed to be fiscally or even beneficially disposable anymore. They're always disposable. That's the one constant. The one constant. I think when I did my last remember that last video I put up about how when I compared my ex wanting to come back to Canada to Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And somebody commented the one constant in life is inevitability. It's inevitable, right? And I would add to that, the other constant in life is male disposability. That is inevitable. You can't get rid of that. I don't care if you come from fucking Africa, Asia, America, Russia. Male disposability is the constant, right? And if that's the constant, the only thing that matters is how are you going to temper that with the rest of society in order to make it function. That's the only thing that really matters. So these Asian men that you say that are useless, they're not useless. They're disposable. Disposability is their use. But
Well,
be
what I was about to state though is that they're so disposable that when the parents find out that it's a man, I've heard they just kill the man because a woman, because of her hypoagency, because she can breed more children, and she can go and work. The woman is valued more in some societies, and the men are just like,
yep.
it's just it's a pest.
Good point. Good point. Actually, it can affect the male psyche to that level too. You're absolutely right.
Well, look what just happened what we were showing in happened in Brazil 2 weeks ago, where the two lesbians.
Yes.
And I sent you an article this week about how they want to castrate males.
Yeah. Didn't we talk about that one? I thought we mentioned that.
No, we didn't talk about that one.
Spanish boys need to be castrated at birth.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll cue that up. I'm not gonna. I'll bring it up in a second here. I want to go through some of the chats that we've had here. Um, all right, everybody managed to get through my spiritual crap. So let me see what they said after. Traversable Cock says she wants the genetics of one man and the resources of all men. That's a very good point, Traversable. And when it comes to there's no unintentional pregnancies, man. None. If a woman wants to get pregnant, she will. If she doesn't, she
And
won't.
you as a guy, and you as a man should know better to pull out.
Yeah, well, not even pull out. I mean, it's just as soon as okay, and we all understand this is MGTOW men as well. I don't know if you know other men do, but anybody that's MGTOW man understands this. Is that reproductivity and the rights of it? Not just the rights. I hate using that word, the rights, but the power of reproductivity is always and has always been in the hands of the female. And that was the payoff for disposability. Okay? But it always has been in the hands of the female.
Why is the fire department coming?
What's happening? Are you getting okay?
Hang on, give me a second. The fire department's coming to my house because of my bonfire.
It's the state in action.
I'll be right. Give me a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Anyway, he's apparently we're witnessing the state in action there in New York, where Lamprey is. The fire department's coming to the house because his bonfire is too big. God forbid that happens. But anyway, going back to Traversable Cox, what he was saying, she wants the genetics of one man and the resources of all men. Again, reproductivity is always the power of reproductivity is always in the hands of the woman. In other words, it begins and ends with her. If you meet a woman and you want to fuck her and she says no, reproductivity ends. Unless you rape her. You can always do that. But if you choose not to, if you're civil and you don't, then reproductivity ends. In fact, rape is really the only reproductive power men have. If you think about it. Rape is the only reproductive power men have. Because even after, in our society, maybe in the old days it didn't happen so much because maybe even if a man did rape a woman and the woman was to give birth because they didn't have such thing as abortion, maybe that the rapist could have said, you know what, I'll take that kid if she doesn't want it. He might have had that power too, but not today, gentlemen. If you, in fact, nowadays, if a woman rapes a boy and she gets pregnant with his kid, she can actually get him to pay child support. That's the clown world we live in. So remember this, and you know this. Reproductivity begins and ends with a woman. There's no such thing as a unintended pregnancy. Grimcock is right. It's pure bullshit. Warrior Grim agrees. Let's see, what else we got here? Hamster reasoning. Yes, M. Cock. Hamster reasoning. M. Cock says, my father educated me way more than the schools, in fact. It was practically his second job. That's great, man. And Grimcock agrees. No, that's fantastic. I can't really say the same for my father, but he did influence me a lot. he didn't give me direct education in a traditional sense, but he did influence me positively a lot. And so, he was there. So yeah, absolutely agree. Um, Traversable Cock says, in the female system, the biggest crime is becoming disabled or critical of the social welfare. Like MGTOW, we become disposable then because of sexual cryptis. Don't know exactly what sexual cryptis means, but it'd be interesting to find out. All right, so Pat Phoenix is still there. All right, Cox. Remember, I'm stealing Owen Benjamin's idea. He wants everybody to be bears because I guess he's a bear, and he's the big bear. It's my channel. My animal totem is a rooster. It's a cock. So we're all cocks, and I'm the big cock. But we also have an elephant cock, so I don't want to get too cocky. Now I'll tell you what, guys, because Lamprey, I guess the fire department's there. I'm hoping he's not. I hope he comes back. I hope they don't arrest him or something.
Hey, I'm back. You
Oh,
ready
he's
for
back.
this?
Okay,
It's
what
nothing to
happened?
do with me. So the fire department's here. She called the fire department on herself
Oh, interesting. Why?
because dude, she's nuts. She's using Lysol, too much Lysol in the house cleaning. Mind you, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I guess the gas detector went off in the house, and it called the
CO2, the CO2 detector, carbon
Yeah.
dioxide. Yeah.
No, from there's a gas detector from her. The cleaning agent got set off the sensor. If you
Why?
can believe it,
What kind of fucking detector do you have?
it's a gas detector.
What kind of gas does it detect?
I don't know. I have no idea what she's doing in there. All I know is she called the fire department on herself.
I think you better be careful. She might be trying to kill your fucking dad.
Yeah,
You know, like it's detecting gas.
he's disposable. He's a donkey. So my apologies, guys. I thought she called it on me because she just, she's passive aggressive and a sociopath.
Jesus Christ.
Her nights, every night of
Is
her
your
life.
dad
since
awake?
I've met her, he's out. He's actually partying somewhere.
Holy.
You
Okay,
know,
so she
fuck.
wasn't. Okay. Maybe she was
It's
trying to
me
kill
and her
you.
in the house. It's me and her and my little brother. And she gets mad that I do these live streams because she knows I'm just talking shit about thoughts. Okay. You need to stop talking about women that way. I gotta do what the fuck I want.
Tell her that I want her to come on the live stream.
She's not, dude. She will not shut up. Every time I say tiny hat, she gets so bent out of shape. Those are God's chosen people. I'm like, yeah, okay. I just turn to my brother. I look at my brother. I go, who killed Jesus Christ? Who killed your Lord and Savior?
That's great. Your little brother's like, the Jews, big brother. The Jews did it. That's amazing.
Right.
That's
Who
fucking
killed
amazing.
Santa? Who killed Santa?
Yeah. Wow.
Well, so these single moms, man. For me, some of the closest women in my life, acquaintances too, were in fact single moms. They actually wound up getting married and having more kids, and those guys are pretty cool, and they have stable relationships.
That's good.
Yeah,
It's not always a failure. And remember, the exception proves the rule. You know, it's the exception proves the rule. It just proves that nothing is universal, and that there are exceptions. That's all an exception does. And I like them. I like the exceptions. You know, if I like the exceptions, but I don't often like how they.
no, they're so rare. There's always the exception that you're going to wind up having a stable relationship with a thought, but those chances are slim to none.
Yeah, there's always a chance that you play Russian roulette with 5 bullets in 6 chambers, you might win. But yeah, is it really worth it?
I boil it down to how much they've put the wedge between men and women, and how successful they've been without actually going to war with you. On top of that, promoting homosexuality and promoting interracial relationships. I mean, it's brazen. It's been so brazen after the Bush administration. Once Obama took power, this all just the mask came off. Party on, guys! It's
Yeah,
go time.
I agree. Yeah, it's amazing. It's just like once Obama got into power, it was like the devil just peeled off his Scooby Doo mask and said, "Ha ha, I rule you," and everybody just
Dude,
clapped their hands.
every Democrat is on favor for giving illegals health care.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course they are. Of course they are. We're living in Looney Tune Town, man. Traversable. He mentioned something while you were gone, and I didn't understand it. It said sexual cryptis, and Traversable Cock says sexual cryptis is when she hides her futility. I think he made spelling mistakes, but that's okay. I understand. Multiple sources of DNA, so all the males think it's their child. So all the resources are gained from the community, hence welfare. Interesting. Yeah, sexual cryptis would make sense in the sense that welfare, the state,
That's hypergamy.
yeah, that's hypergamy, and maybe sexual cryptis is sort of a method of maintaining hypergamy. Interesting. But yeah, you're right though. The state becomes a provider, but it doesn't even matter. Like she doesn't even have to hide her fertility. I mean, as long as she's not a fucking severe crackhead, and she's below the age of 25, she's probably fertile, right? She probably has menstruation cycles. So, it's if you're a young man and you're being sexually active, yeah, just think about it. Every woman you're with has the chance of getting pregnant. Don't fuck around. Of course, she's fertile. I don't. She the one thing she can do is hide fertility from the man that did get her pregnant. But also, again, that goes into sperm jacking. I mean, if she's sleeping with a lot of men all the time, and then she just digs into a garbage can and injects the sperm into her after he leaves, there's no way that man will know, right? And she won't know who the father was. I mean, she will know because obviously she knows her cycle and she knows when she sperm jacked. But in the end, she's still going to be taking money from everybody. Mike Cock. You need a new name, Mike. Mike Cock. She can get pregnant from another man and tag you as the baby daddy. Yes, you can. Pat. Phoenix cock. Telegeny is a thing too. The fertilization process inherits DNA from several sexual partners a woman has had in the past. Yeah, I've heard about that too, man. The idea that every time a man comes in a woman, she retains some part of his DNA. It's frightening. It's like
Hey,
John Carpenter's The Thing.
pull up the article on super welfare guaranteed income for all isn't a SUS and it's just the new serfdom.
Ooh, good. Max Kaiser. All right, I'm going to pull up this other article. And again, yeah, I know this. I read this earlier today, Lamprey, and I agree with it 100%. 100%. I'll share the screen with you guys. We're going to go into this article. Max Kaiser Financial Woe Reports. Super welfare. Now, Lamprey, I have never heard of super welfare. Have you?
No.
Okay. Now, that's probably a term he coined, correct?
I believe so. I gotta pull it up. I have to see who the author is.
It's Max Kaiser. He does YouTube stuff too. He's a very right leaning talking head on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he says super welfare guaranteed income for all. Yeah, guaranteed income for all has been a very left leaning talking point for a while. It's not a solution, it's just a new serfdom. Jean-Paul Sartre famously wrote that hell is other people. While this is undoubtedly true in cocktail party and workplace settings, in socio-economic terms, hell is a scarcity of positive social roles. The sources of positive identity, pride, purpose, community, and meaning. Since meaningful work is the source of positive social roles, hell is a lack of meaningful work. Very true. Unfortunately for us, The Keynesian cargo cult economists that dominate our world have zero grasp of humanity's need for positive social roles and meaningful work. In the myopic view of the Keynesians, humans are nothing but consumer bots, heartless beings who chew through the earth's resources in their limitless quest for more of everything what the Keynesian cargo cult worships as demand. And I want to stop for a second and mention that ties into what I said. When your entire existence is based on random generation from entropy into design, which goes against every logical sense we have, then yes, you see your life as nothing but a path of consumption. That's all you do. You exist, you consume. I was out with Messenger the other day, and he took me out for lunch, and he's like, we walked into do you have Costco in the United States?
Yeah, that originated over
Oh,
here. It was
did it?
originally called Price Club.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I never go there, man. Why would I go there? So anyway, he takes me. Goes. I like to go to Costco because they have this food place where you can eat, and it's like $1.50 for like.
Yeah, that's mad good food, dude. The Costco food is really good.
Yeah, and he's like
delicious.
Yeah, and he's like, it's so cheap and it's so good, and I'm like, well,
yeah, he's right, man.
Yeah. I'm like, Messenger, how did you know about this? He's like, I've always known about this. So he takes me all the way to the other end of town, man, to go into Costco, and he goes, you don't even need a Costco card. You walk in through the exit, right? So
He's fucking.
Yeah, we just walk in through the exit, so you don't need a Costco card, and you go to the food court and you buy fucking $1 foot-long hot dog, $1 with a drink. It's like, what the fuck? Where did you find it? So dirt.
Did you get the frozen yogurt?
No, I didn't get the frozen yogurt. Maybe next time. So and as we're walking through there, he's Messenger. He's so big, man. He's a huge man. He's walking. He's like, consumption. Look at everybody consuming, and that's what is happening here in the article, right? That's what else is there in life, really? Seriously.
I consume to fill the void, dude.
Exactly. Exactly. You consume to fill a void because there's nothing. What else is there in a world where your entire life is based on random entropy to suddenly design with no fucking explanation, no meaning? Death is an end. Birth is an accident. So your life is just consumption. I consume, and you try to find happiness in that, but you can't. And here, Max Kaiser's telling us the same thing. All right? He says, tragically, the blindness to humanity's need for meaning, this blindness to humanity's need for meaning and the elevation of spirituality, empty consumerism to a secular religion leaves the Keynesians incapable of understanding this timeless truth. The only possible result of robbing people of their livelihood is despair. If you live in despair, you're done. Chief Keynesian cargo cultist Paul Krugman seems sincerely mystified that more state welfare, it's not eliminating this despair. You mean how come if we keep giving single mothers all this money from the taxpayers, how come they're not happy anymore? What's happening, Lamprey? What's going on? Why aren't we getting happier by giving all these people free money? Explain it to me, Lamprey.
The lack of meaning in their lives. Everyone's empty. That's why there's fentanyl.
Free fentanyl now.
Yes, you're right.
Free
Good
fentanyl.
point. Free fucking fentanyl. You're right, dude.
And also another story about me out with Messenger the other day. We were at the store doing some. We had to do a meeting for the software for the point of sale stuff, and I had him there. I brought him there, and then on the way back, he's like, "I got to stop by the dollar store. I got to pick up some stuff." And I wasn't planning on going to the dollar store, but I thought, fuck, I'm here. I might as well spend a few dollars, pick up some shit. And anyway, where the dollar store is in my town is right across the street from the free injection site. Okay. And when he said he was going there, I was excited because I'd never seen it. I wanted to see it. I didn't want to go in, although it would be interesting to go in. I just knew it was right there. It's like right across the street. I want to see. And I didn't know exactly where it was. So as we're driving down the street, I'm like, hey, you know that the free injection site's right around here, man? And he's like, oh, really? Where is it? And as we're driving to turn into the parking lot of this dollar store, you guys got dollar stores in the United States?
Yep.
Okay.
Right here.
So as we're turning in to go, we both look to our right, and there's this kind of like really dirty looking kind of square brick building. It's all painted gray, and the front windows are boarded up, and and the front door obviously the building had a front door also was boarded up. But on the side, there was a door on the side, a kind of a drive-in alley to the side. And there's like 15 natives, just fucking horrible looking, just sitting there, kind of half standing, half sitting. And I go, that's it. I bet you that's it. There's no sign on it, right? There's no sign. There's nothing. It really looks like this run-down. It looks like a building that is about to be demolished. But that's it. It's insane, man. Free.
That's where you are as a society.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you have general dollar store by you. You got Costco. It's the same thing here. The corporatizing of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Walmart tried really hard to push into China. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So Walmart, when they first opened up in China, they had American-styled box stores, you know, where it's just massive amount of cereal, massive amount of frozen taquitos. I mean, you obviously walk the aisles of Costco, so you understand what it's like, right?
Yeah.
So they opened that in China, failed miserably, billions of dollars lost when they tried doing that. So Walmart had to think of a whole new strategy on how to turn this sinking ship around as they try to I guess socially engineer the Chinese. So, for example, instead of having like a frozen fish, they have massive tanks inside where you can pick your own fish.
Right.
And you know, they kind of, you know, geared it more towards like almost like a wet market, but in a dry atmosphere inside the box store, and it worked. They turned it around.
Of course,
so Walmart was able to you know, use its money to come up with ideas and strategy. That's put the glory of a private company is like, it's because it's driven profit. You have to, you know, steer the ship correctly real quick, you know, versus, you know, you have the taxpayer just to bleed and dry where, you know, the country's got $22 trillion in debt. You know, that's the difference between a private company, capitalist, okay, versus government efficiency.
Yeah, a private company, free market capitalist can problem solve fucking with their, you know, blindfolded.
Well, I heard that Walmart was government backed and sponsored during its birth. I got to look into that. That's fascinating. If Walmart was able to get off the ground because of taxpayer money, that is something to research. That
would be something to research, man. But you're right. I mean, if in a free market, in a true free market, I mean, brainstorming on that level and kind of just readjusting, you have to. It's that or death. When it comes to state control, it's like stand in line for bread.
It's good deal. It's real deal. Have Subway sandwich. It's good deal.
You stand in line.
Bag of chip. Frito-Lay bag of chip in a Pepsi Cola. Stop, you're making me laugh.
Holy fuck.
Frito-Lay bag of chip and a Pepsi Cola.
$5. Stand in line. Get to the back of the line.
You ever see the SNL skit, the gyro?
No.
You like the juice?
No.
You think the juice is good? I get you the juice. You never see Adam Sandler? Oh my God, Chris Farley. He like the juice.
No, I haven't seen that. I'll check it out. Man.
It was Triumph the insult comic dog.
Yes, I do know that.
That's Robert Smigel, right? Robert Smigel wrote the skit. You like the juice, and he's in the skit.
He's a Zoroastrian, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
He's so great. He's so. You like the juice? You think the juice is good? I get you the
The
juice.
juice. You want the
The
apple
juice.
juice?
Yo, hero, more juice for a hero. It said you're not allowed to see it. Every time I send you SNL skits, it's blocked for your
Yeah, it
country.
blocks in my country. It's shit. They don't want.
It
They don't
sucks.
want the Canadians to have the juice. You can't.
Well, the
have the
movie
juice.
Blame Canada. I'm not Blame the South Park movie, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, has been in Canada.
I haven't. Maybe that's why I haven't seen it.
There's a whole you never heard. Wait, you don't know the Blame Canada song?
I've heard of it, yes, but I don't think I've
Dude, it's
seen it.
hilarious.
It's probably banned in Indonesia too, so that's why I never. That's why I never got to see it. Well,
One of the greatest. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, let me continue through this article. All right. Why middle-aged white Americans are dying of despair is obvious. Their opportunities to secure positive social roles are diminishing. Once meaningful work vanishes, so do positive social roles. This is absolutely true, and this is why I pulled up at a dollar store. When I looked across the street, there was half a dozen Native Americans, both men and women, half handicapped, slobbering over themselves after they just got free injections of opiates, fentanyl. It's fucking insane. This is why super welfare, guaranteed work for all, is just a new version of socio-economic hell. Being paid to do nothing does not provide meaningful work or positive social roles, which are the sources of positive identity, pride, purpose, community, and meaning. The petit bourgeois fantasy of every individual flowering as an artist sounds like every fucking woman that I dated in the 90s. Musician and creator once freed of work is an abstraction. One born of the expansion of academic enclaves and private wealth-funded dilettantes fluttering from one salon to the next. Ever notice how many trust funders have therapists? Would they all need therapists if being freed from work automatically generated happiness and fulfillment? The irony of this particular abstraction is especially rich. The more beholden we become to central states for our incomes and health, the more heroic the artistic expressions of rebellion against these same centralized authorities. But even these artistic rebellions are abstractions. Rather than generate meaning in a system stripped of meaning, these self-referential expressions of faux resistance and newness for the sake of something new to consume are parodies of rebellion and revolution. Artistic expressions become an inside joke shared by self-referential elites, the very acme of inauthenticity. Now, I wanted to say something there too. Nobody voted for this, by the way. Okay, nobody voted for any of this. Nobody voted for in our current democratic states. I think about where I live now. Nobody sat down and had a referendum, a public referendum of whether or not we should let people shoot up illegal drugs legally downtown. Nobody did. None of these things are happening because there's some kind of local political consensus, or there's any kind of illusion of a democratic process. I just want that to be made known as well. Where we are today, regardless of who we voted for, none of this. If you went to every single household within a 1,000-mile radius and said, in the condition of the state you are in now, did you vote for any of this? I guarantee you, almost everyone would say, no, not at all. This is not what I wanted. So it has to tell you a little bit of something of how our system works.
But I like Ronald Reagan says, "Oh, the worst mistake I ever made was passing no-fault divorce." Then why did you do it?
Yeah,
why did
exactly.
you do it?
Exactly.
Retard.
Did he say that?
Bullshit. Yes.
Bullshit. He actually said that.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He regretted it right after he said, "Oh, then again, why did you do it?"
Yeah.
Actors.
Yeah, they're all actors, man. They're all fucking actors. So
here's the thing: like
okay.
when you when you rip the family apart, okay, the family is a store of wealth also.
Yeah.
Okay, is if they stay married, they develop equity and they can pass it on to their children. Once the thought decides that she wants a divorce, she's now, again, the bureaucracy comes down and they bleed the house dry. The attorneys, the state going to court. Then you have to factor in the government aspect of these things, where there's more paperwork to fill out for you because you're getting child support. You have to miss work because you have to go to court because she wants more money because you work more overtime. Okay, and these are the factors that get involved when you decide to rip the family apart. The other issue is real estate. Okay, if 5-bedroom house is meant for a family, right? If no one's getting married or they're only having 1 or 2 children, a lot of these houses become community houses now, where it's just become like a college dorm where everyone shares a kitchen. That's where it's going to wind up going. The people that wind up inheriting their houses and they're not married wind up renting rooms out because she wants to be a thought and she wants to go her own way with the baby.
Yes. Yeah, man. What is that? Look, the same part, the same on the same subject with the article. Um, Humans draw meaning from producing, not consuming, and from belonging to a group that provides a larger goal than self-indulgence, which is the ultimate objective of spiritually impoverished consumerism. Basically, what's being said is that um, the meaning of life is producing. And that is the number one lesson in every religious text you will ever read. It's all there. It's not there in political texts. It's not there in communist texts. It's not there. In order for the state to survive, you have to consume. In order for your soul to survive, you have to self-express and you have to produce. So that's it. And then in the end, you'll die a miserable death alone, and hell is what you make it.
Read one of the last parts. To the degree that serfdom is political powerlessness, and near zero access to the process of accumulating productive capital, super welfare guaranteed income for all is simply serfdom institutionalized into a hell devoid of purpose, pride, meaning, community, and positive social roles. Absolutely.
100%. If you agree with that, then you got to hand in your atheist card. I'm sorry. You have
It's
to.
all good, man. Party on.
Yeah, party on, dude. Party on, dude. Consume. Okay. Now, so one thing we can take away from this, and again, this might go back to when we discussed about Andy Nowicki's response to our conversation, where he was very upset. He seemed very emotionally upset about, why is this happening? What's the end goal? I'm pissed off. I don't get it. Everybody's going to lose if this happens. It's like a real, very despair kind of. There was a very tone of despair in his voice. Hell is, we are living in hell for the love of our Creator. We're living in hell. We create it. It's here. It's now. All right. It's hell. I mean, my trip.
Is it though?
Absolutely.
It is in a lot of different ways. It is. You really are stuck, man. When I lived I was thinking about it today. The energy, the vibe of the people is much healthier because the people are, in some weird way, the people are much more free. And here, you're somewhat of just a money slave, a consumer, basically.
Yeah, it's easy to say that when you understand that death is not an end. You see what I'm saying? When you think death is an end, then you have to turn hell into heaven. You have to. Because when your life ends, your consciousness ends, and there's nothing left. So even if you're burning in a lake of shit, You have to make the best of it. You have to assume it's your heaven. Right? This is the failure of fucking nihilists, of atheism. If you assume death is an end, where consciousness ends, then you have to accept the hell you live in as the only thing you'll ever have. But if you don't, and you understand that death is not an end, then you understand this is hell, but it doesn't become your reality. Right? It becomes a process that you have to work through. You know, and that's why that part still exists. I mean, this man here who wrote this article is saying the same thing, Max Kaiser. You know, I don't know. This man is a religious man. He's probably a Christian. Maybe he might even be a Jew. I don't know. But he's saying the same damn thing. Look, if you believe death is an end, then you're going to wipe shit on your face and try to pretend it's heaven. And I'm sorry, that's not how the world works, man. It's not how it works. All right? Everything disintegrates. This life isn't meant to be heaven. It's not meant to be a paradise. This life is meant to be a lesson. Right? That's it. You know, I knew this a long time ago. It's natural to know this. So anyway, my point is that with this article, when he talks about super welfare, yes, this is just another critical point that the state is turning our lives into. The state is trying to become God, the God you worship, the God of consumption. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to consume it, and you're going to fucking love it while you do it because there's nothing left. Right? That's pure slavery. Pure fucking slavery, man.
Well, there's just there's no place to really go. Like, what did I do today? I had one beer with a friend. I went to the gym. I slept in pretty late and drank coffee. I mean, what are you supposed to do? In fact, where are you supposed to meet people? Because when you try actually go out and meet people or like-minded individuals, you're in a place where it requires consumption.
Yep.
Right? Whether you're at the bar, okay, whether you're going to the mall, restaurants, anything like that. It requires you spending money, and that's also part of the issues where institutionalized religion used to fill that gap, used to fill that void. It was a place of worship. You don't have to give money to go to church.
No.
Okay. So, and a lot of people don't do that anymore. You don't go and meet your neighbor.
Well, they don't
right?
want
Because you
people
were on a bender last night.
They don't want people to congregate under the sense, especially in person, under the sense of like something spiritual. Churches are dead, man.
Yep.
Masjids are
Totally dead.
Masjids are dead, man. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to many masjids here.
Why not, bro?
God, because I've been to so
Matter
many.
with you, dude.
I've been to so many in
Did you whoop you
Indonesia.
today?
No, fuck no.
Did you?
Because I went to so many in Indonesia, and it was just disappointing, man. I mean, again, I have to say this to people that when I talk about this stuff, I don't know what they think, but I just have to say this. If you want to go, if you want to find a religion and go to it to find sort of the, this freedom from this consumption mentality, the spirituality, it might be there, but don't bet your life on it, man. Because even the religions have been corrupted.
Well, get this. You know what the Hispanics do in the States? They use the system against. They use the system in their advantage. So, for example, what they would do is that they would get married, but they wouldn't sign anything that was legal. So she'd be considered a single mom, and once they're considered a single mom, they can receive welfare, right?
Yes.
And that's what a lot of them are doing now.
Yeah, of course it's going to come through there. Absolutely, it's going to come through there. I would, my aunt in L.A. is a huge Catholic, huge Roman Catholic, like dedicated to the core Roman Catholic. This woman goes to every. She takes she takes a holiday, pays a lot of money to go to a site somewhere either in South America or somewhere in Western Europe where the Mother Mary appeared. You
Yeah, a
understand?
lot of people do that.
Yeah, man. I'm not kidding you. All right, she goes and does this, and she spends a lot of money to do it. Like she has so much faith in that religion.
A lot of women become super disciplined. My grandmother never had sex for 40 years, and all she did was do exactly those type of things.
Mm-hmm. Incredible,
She
man.
stayed with one guy her entire life. She lost her virginity to her husband. He died early, and that's it. She stayed disciplined, and she stayed, very. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Women can do that. There's no doubt about it. Some women, dude, women can turn it off so easy. You have
Yeah.
no idea.
Well, it depends
Turn
on
it
what
right.
they got, what they have to focus on. I mean, if their focus is the state as their god, where do you think that's gonna fucking go?
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I was saying, my aunt, she spent all very 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 religious. I don't. I'm not going to say that I think that her faith is 100% true or I agree with it, but it doesn't matter. Uh, it made her a good person.
Yeah,
It made her a good
absolutely.
person, and it didn't. You know what wouldn't have made her a good person is if she fucking worshipped Kim Kardashian.
Yep.
You understand? So when I don't, I won't go into a masjid unless it's for nostalgia, okay, and just for the experience, because I understand that religion has also been a part of social engineering by the masters. God is real, whether you like it or not, very real. But what I want people to remember is that religion needs God. It needs a God. Religion needs a God to exist. God does not need a religion to exist. That's the reality. But I'll tell you, if anybody that points their their faith and their ideas in a direction towards that greater self, you're 1,000% off better than down some sick, nihilistic, atheistic path of state worship and oblivion. I come from
LGBT worship.
absolutely, man. I mean, if you want to see the final outcome of complete absence of an initial mover, a creator, look no further than the modern LGBT movement. There's a lot of atheists that exist that despise that, but that's what's feeding them. You give them the hope of a creator and creation, that shit disappears. Absolutely disappears. Remember, religion needs a God. God does not need a fucking religion. And that's fact.
I just can't believe what you told me. How many single moms are up by you?
Oh yeah.
Epidemic. But you know what? This is a great opportunity because at the same time, marriage is on the decline. Men are not going to put themselves in the cage with the lion. It's just not going to happen.
Well,
Not going to happen, and that is going to be the collapse. Is when you literally atomize people to that point, and it's just the whole system just fucking crumbles.
you're absolutely right. That was mentioned in some of the articles you sent me. Is that marriage, the decline of marriage? It's incredible. It just keeps going
It's
down
huge.
and down and down, and it's mostly. If you want a summary of what we read, is that most quote unquote households, all right, we have to redefine household now, but quote unquote household, most of them are run by single mothers with a child under 18, with at least one child under 18. Um, then after that is cohabitation, where the parents are not married, but they live together and they tend to be younger. And then after that, even less than that, is the solo dad who one of the parents has visitation rights, and even less than that is just the solo dad. Nobody's getting married anymore, man.
Right.
And if you're not
Which
getting
isn't
married,
good.
no, it's
It's
not
not
good.
good because who's gonna take care of you when you're old? That's my big fear as being a MGTOW man.
Yep,
And
it
it's a lot of
should
people.
be.
Oh well, they have it's a serious problem. That's a big alarm, man.
Well, this what you're gonna have to do as a man of your age now, who's dealing with the dating scene and the world as it is today. Um, one of your biggest fears, what's going to happen to me when I'm older, and some of the solutions you have to consider, which are not traditional and haven't happened before, is surrogacy and adoption. And adoption is almost out of the question for a single man. So that's very, very, I'm just throwing the ideas out there.
Pretend you're gay.
What I suppose you could do that.
Pretend you're a sodomite.
Or what you could do is you could go, I might look like a man, but I'm actually a woman, and I want to adopt a child. That might work, actually. That might work in the twisted world we live in.
Clown world.
Well,
Well, single mom is a hero. She should be Superman. What's stopping her?
well, she's going to be in the next Superman movie. You didn't know that?
What?
Superman 7 is a single mother. You didn't know that?
No. I hope you're joking.
I am joking, but that's what's fucking happening. Come on.
I don't know if that's real or not anymore. That's how fucking twisted it is now.
Yes, I was listening to Owen Benjamin today, and he was getting angry. Like, you know how he does? He goes on these angry
I love
rants.
it.
I know, I love it too.
Great.
It's raw. He's going, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Then he goes, "Wait, are you being sarcastic? Maybe you're being sarcastic." And he goes, "I can't tell anymore." He's like, "Don't be
Yeah, I know.
sarcastic. Just don't do it anymore." You can't fucking tell, man.
Leftist fitness. Those are great, dude.
But it's the truth. You can't fucking tell anymore. Are people being
Trump.
serious?
Trump. Trump.
You can't tell anymore, man. Look, I went.
I know.
I went. I gotta stop sharing the screen here. I went to. I had a family gathering. I don't think I told you this. Did I tell you this? I had a family gathering about a month ago.
Hmm.
My aunt, who is my mother's sister, she's about 5 years younger than my mother. Been married her whole life, actually. Married to one man her whole life until now. They're both still alive. They both have two very beautiful children with autism.
Nice.
But they're functional autists, right? So they can work and go to school and stuff. They're old. They have jobs, but they can't socially function. You know what I mean? Like
So they're TFLers.
they won't reproduce. Yeah, they won't reproduce. They'll never reproduce. They can't function socially. They can't communicate with women. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. Anyway, but the point is that my aunt came out here for the first time in years and years and years and years. So obviously my mother's like, oh, we got to get all the brothers and sisters to come down and have. So there's a family gathering, and they came to pick me up. My mom's boyfriend came to pick me up from my place to drive us out to her house, and I walk out, and guess what I was wearing?
Not a clue.
I was wearing my MAGA hat. So I went to this family gathering of fucking boomers, and most of them I hadn't seen in 2 decades. Seriously. And I put on "Make America Great
That's
Again"
what
hat.
you wore to the family.
Yes,
gathering?
yes, yes,
What's the matter with you?
yes.
You're nuts.
I did.
At the same time, Allah Akbar.
Yes, I did. It was
That's
incredible.
great.
It was incredible. It was incredible. I
Hit the likes. Pound that thought, guys. Come on, hit the like.
Yeah, hit the like, guys. I just wanted to say that one of my uncles said, if you're serious about that, I can't talk to you anymore. It was incredible. It was an incredible experience. Absolutely.
And what? So you had most of your family was mad at you, is what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. basically.
Fuck them.
They were
Fuck
all
them, man.
upset. I didn't care. I didn't care at all. Um, I enjoyed it. I had a great time. And one memory I have is sitting at the table. All the adults were in one room, and all the kids were in another room. And I eventually just quietly excused myself from the adult room, and I sat down at the table of kids. And I was sitting there with a bunch of kids, just talking to them and playing games with them. And as the adults filed through, I said, "You see," and I said this to the kids, "You see this hat?" I said, "This hat will turn adults into children." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it." They knew.
What did you like? Who said it recently about? Oh, how do you like this? My mother goes, if you can't write, oh, you'll love this one. So my mother's like, saying, why aren't you seeing anybody? I only see my mother once every 6 months. She's sorry, I'm smoking a cigarette. Mm. She goes, did you ever think about dating a single mom? I
Oh,
slammed the brakes. I
oh,
slammed the brake. I go to my mom. I go, of all the audacity, that's what you think I am? Like, I'm on that level. That's what I deserve to date a single mom.
that
You
is fucking
imagine?
horrible, man.
I know.
So,
Terrible.
what? Why don't you look for a single mom? Wouldn't that be a good? Isn't that a good option for you? Oh my God, man. No, you know what you should say? It's like, no, who was that? She was your aunt or something? Who was it?
No, it was my mom that said it.
Oh, your mom. You say, "Mom, you know what? Actually, I just converted to Islam, and I'm about to take a walk down to the junior high school because I think that's the best place for me to look for a wife." That's what you should have said.
Hmm.
Or,
Unbelievable.
yeah, it's fucked up, man. So,
Well, she sees what's going on. She sees it though. Like, I mean, my brother used to get so many women, dude, and he says like these women are just incapable of communicating. It's autistic,
yeah, they are autistic. They don't have fathers, number one.
autistic.
They're thoughtistic. They're fucking thoughtistic.
Hey,
Thoughtistic
what's some
women.
of the? What are the? Let's pull up a couple more articles and we'll end the night.
The other ones I have here. Good. We did that one. Oh, did we do 1/3 of U.S. children are living with an unmarried parent? What?
Yeah, do that one.
Okay. We'll go through that, but I think we kind of already covered it. But yeah, we'll do one more here, and then we'll kind of bring it to an end, gentlemen. But again, as we were saying, this episode is largely mostly been about the pariah of single motherhood. And from the beginning, we said, where do we start? It was hard to start. Do you go back to
Oh,
what?
no, no, no. Go. You know what you do? Open up the Word document and read what's been written down that I highlighted. Most unwed mothers strongly desire children. The overwhelming majority of lower income women who have children out of wedlock strongly desire to have children. In fact, having children is generally perceived as the most important, fulfilling thing in their lives, giving their lives purpose and meaning. According to Eden, low income, non married mothers view children as the best of what life offers. Whether planned or not, children are nearly always viewed as a gift, not a liability, a source of both joy and fulfillment. Low income single mothers credit their children to virtually all that they see as positive in their lives, and they rely on their children to bring validation, purpose, companionship in order to their often chaotic lives.
Wait a second. So why are they killing their kids? Why is abortion so popular? Where the
See, I
fuck?
don't know. Is
Where?
it really that popular, though?
What? Abortion?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
Well, what's the statistics on it? First of all, it's mostly African Americans that do
Well,
it.
it is mostly African Americans, but it's not all African Americans, and it's mostly single mothers that are doing it, regardless of the race. The 97% of abortions statistically are done for convenience. If having a child, if having a child was such a joy to these women, why would 97% of their abortions be out of fucking convenience? Doesn't make any fucking
It's
sense,
true.
man. It makes no fucking sense. It's bullshit.
Well, then you can't say that because more women, there's more single mothers than there are abortions.
Of course, there's more single mothers than there are abortions. Because an abortion, obviously, you can have again and again and again, whereas once you're a single mother, you kind of stay a single mother for a long time. One single mother can have 5 abortions before she statistically is no longer a single mother,
True.
right? So, look, and I'll say this, and I've said this before from a MGTOW perspective. One of the reasons why abortion is so popular among women, especially when you give them that the ability to do it without shame, because that's really important to women. And I've always said this too as a MGTOW man: women are like children, and I know this as a teacher. Women do not emotionally mature past the age of about 15. If you the next time you're in a bar or anywhere at work and you're talking to a mature woman of 25 to 35, watch her behavior. In your mind, rewind to when she was 15 years old. Emotionally, she's exactly the same. Okay? Exactly the same. Women do
Hey,
not.
read what I just sent you.
Yeah, okay, hold on, let me see it.
All right, let me premise this.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I found this article about a month or so ago about how now school districts. I dropped my lighter. There's many children not paying their tabs in public school for meals. Okay, and it's mostly from single mother households. Okay, and that is an outrage from the leftist activists that you have to waive their fee and feed them no matter what. Naturally, of course, right, Am?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So this is another aspect where economic
You're dropping out, man.
policy
You're dropping out.
should be for the does have.
You're dropping out, Lamprey. Lamprey, I lost you. Okay, I lost Lamprey. I believe you guys are still in there.
Right.
No,
So
I lost you. Dude. You dropped out completely.
oh, am I back?
You're back now. You got to go back. You completely dropped out.
So read what I sent you.
Okay, I got it. Hold on.
So they're passing this law where you have to give the kids food no matter what. Who pays for this? Why should I pay my kid? My kid should get the free food too. And this is this is how it starts to collapse. Communal living collapses when no one wants to clean the dishes in the kitchen anymore.
Yes. I've been
Right?
there. I've been there. I have been there. Hello?
Yeah, can you
Okay.
read it?
Yeah. Okay, so this requires that each local school board to adopt policies that, one, prohibit school board employees from requiring a student who cannot pay for a meal at school or who owes a school meal debt to do chores or other work to pay for such meals or wear a wristband or a hand stamp, and two, require school board employees to direct any communication relating to a school meal debt to the student's parent, which may be made by a letter addressed to the parent to be sent home with the student. The bill is identical to HB 50. In other words, if you're too poor or you belong to a single mother, which is the more accurate way to say it, and you can't afford lunch at school because, God forbid, your mom packs your own lunch, I guess. Like she's too poor to pack your own lunch, and she's too poor to pay for your school lunch. Just forgive it and keep letting them eat for free, right?
Correct. Exactly.
And the result of that?
Well, this just went through. So what's the ramifications? Furthermore, what it stated is let him work off the debt.
Yep.
Let him go and do
Which is a good
chores in the
idea.
school,
Which is a
which is
great
a
idea.
great idea.
Yeah.
No, you have to get rid of that. So the person doesn't learn responsibility. This
Yeah.
from the single mom's offspring doesn't learn responsibility. So even for the good parts of, let's say, where the public system is working, okay, where it says, look, this is a moral responsibility. You have to do it this way. Okay, and I agree with that, and they want to get rid of that. That's no good.
Well, the Hebes are licking their lips. That's for sure.
Zoroastrians, bro.
I'm sorry,
back
the
off.
Zoroastrians are licking their lips because they're raising a generation that's going to be twice as fucked as this one.
Serfs.
The serfs of the PO. What age would it be? The age is the monarchies?
Well, how about
Paleolithic?
this? Think of it this way. Now that you remove the father from the house and you feel that there's something wrong with your child, well, you go to the psychologist, and the psychologist will say, well, it's gender dysphoria here. You should chop your son's dick off.
Yes, yeah. Well, your son, he's out of control. Look, we've been giving him disciplined. He's out of control. You know what? I think he probably thinks he's a girl. Let's cut his dick off. No, absolutely. Social engineering, 100%. Again, like I said, even to be a civil engineer, there's a million different avenues you have to think about. It's not one man. This is designed 100%, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they had the money to do it. The next time you get upset that your roads aren't fixed, think about that.
You check this one out. Read this. Send it to you now. Come on. Oh, there it goes. Here. Here's some sad reports from the U.S. Census Bureau.
Okay.
Reveals that. Yeah, read it.
You want me to read it? Okay. Report from the U.S. Census Bureau reveals that 62% of new moms in their early 20s are unmarried. 62% of new moms in their early 20s are unmarried. The report also found that 36% of all moms were unwed in 2011, up from 31% in 2005. In families with incomes of less than $10,000, that number goes up to 69%. I want you to understand, too, that 2005 to 2011, that's 6 years, and that's huge increases. So this is another thing that we have to factor in. When you design a structure to not come down, you're thinking in advance. Payload, weight. If this much weight falls, how much can it take? All right? So there's this effect where what you do today is going to have more effect tomorrow. It's longevity.
Here we go. I got another one for you.
%18.4% of all births in the U.S. in 1980 were to unmarried women. 40.6% of all births in the U.S. in 2008 were to unmarried women. In 1960, just 5 million children under 18 lived with only their mother. By 1980, that number had more than doubled. I think I went over those specific statistics at the beginning, but no, it's true, man. It's absolutely true.
Yes, it is.
But I wanted to go back to something, but I forget now. But I think the point of what we're saying is that from the beginning, single motherhood, again, my idea, and I've always said this, is the single biggest pariah I say the Western world. I say the Western world because it's something different in the East. It exists, but it's not quite the same. The social engineering isn't quite the same there because despite how much power that these Zoroastrians have, they still can't be everywhere all times. They're not fucking God. They like to think they are,
No.
but they're not.
And to be honest with you, Google, the amount of manpower Google would need to monitor everyone's YouTube channels and stuff, it's crazy how much manpower that would take.
Take half the planet or half the plane, sorry, and they don't have that. So it's most of the work is pushed off to robots and machines and programs. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I saw an article the other day where it showed two real fat sort of foreign-looking people sitting on sofas in a cafe, saying, "These are the people that monitor your Facebook accounts." No, they're not. It's not some fucking 300-pound half Indian woman that's banning you from Facebook. If you believe that, you're an idiot. It's not what's happening. All right, they don't.
Well, they're on H-1B1 visas, though.
Hmm?
But people don't realize that it's not Americans working for these multinationals.
No, they're not. They're not. But it's not a fucking room of a million Indians pressing buttons either. That's an illusion too.
This all stems back from the 60s, man. Goes right back to the beginning of it all.
Traversable Cock says 72% of abortion is vanity and financial. That's what I said earlier, and that's what I was talking about with abortion.
Well, yeah. Having a child is now a state of wealth. Think about how twisted that is. To have a child, women treat the child like it's an extension of herself. That's where the narcissism comes from. So it's avocado toast for little Timmy. Here you go. He's on a gluten-free diet, and he's super expensive nanny. These liberal whites that are just again treat children like it's again an extension of herself, more or less.
Well, because it's an extension of herself, it is herself, and she has every right to kill it, which means it doesn't mean anything to her.
She's a narcissist via proxy Americana. That's what it is. She sees it on TV, okay, and again, it's Gucci sunglasses and infinities, and the things I see on YouTube that are trending. It's always like a really young couple in a $1 million home, and they don't work, and then the show never tells you what they do for work. Okay, they're only giving you a show, but and it's supposed to be a reality show. This is real life right here. This can be you, and that's what the young little thought sees on MTV and what she sees on her Google trending. All right, it's a Humvee house in Beverly Hills overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and no one's working or doing anything, because that's what she wants to do. She wants to do nothing and have everything you could ever imagine.
Well, I'm going to go even further than that, Lamprey, because look, there's still this very wonderful gynocentric hum that a lot of men want to say about women, and that, well, women obviously they give birth, so they love their children. And I mean, I've already showed you, and everybody knows that there's incredibly high percentage of abortions are done through convenience, right? Because I just don't want a baby now. It's not because they got raped, right? Not all the liberal talking points. It's not why. It's because it's inconvenient to them. Now, number one, that says women obviously don't give a shit about the child they're about to bear. Now, the second thing you can argue, which you just did, is that it's all the new media programming that's happening today. But I'm going to go a step further and say this. A woman in 1815 got pregnant through a rape. Would she go out of her way to get it aborted?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Got raped, 1815. Maybe she wasn't even a sex worker, just a nice working class woman, got raped. Would she go out of her way to get aborted?
Couldn't tell you, man. That's way above my pay grade.
I know why she would. I know exactly why she would. Because she can have another. And that's why you do not understand the mind of women. If she's young, she can have another. I don't know why people don't understand this. Women know this instinctively. It's biological. It's
You measure it,
biological. Yes, you can measure it. Women know this
analyze
instinctively.
it,
Yes, you can. You can measure it and observe it.
poke
Women,
and prong it.
yeah, women know this instinctively. That if they lose that child, they can have another. Seriously. This is biological. It's part of the survival of the system. Could you imagine if the survival of our species was dependent on women that mourned forever because their firstborn died at birth? No, she's like, oh well, I can have another. That's born into every fucking woman. What our society does is say, take this biological instinct, ramp it up to 10,000, and give you permission to just exploit it. That's what's happening. Women don't fucking care about their kids. They abort them, they beat them, they abuse them. 100%. The only time a woman gives a shit about her kid is if it's in a stable family home environment with a stable man. It's the only time she'll care. Other than that, she doesn't care. Now, the children that grow up with these single mothers, the only incentive these single mothers have to keep their child, and in fact, probably half the time they didn't get abortions because they couldn't afford it, or it was inconvenient at the time, or for a number of other reasons, they didn't get the abortion. Once the child is born with no father, the free money is a great incentive to fucking put it in a stroller and walk to the mall every day. They can do that easy, man. It's easy to do. They don't have to slit its throat. But a lot of them do. A lot of these mothers are throwing their children into trash bins. Okay, this happens, and it's an epidemic. Nobody talks about it. A lot of children aren't surviving. And these single mothers even have the incentive of money. But you know what? The money's not enough for the responsibility they have to take with that kid.
You cheapen sex, and now you start to cheapen life as the next stage.
Mm-hmm. That was the first stage, man. Cheapen sex first. They've done that. I mean, porn was huge. I mean, it just becomes.
It's the norm.
It's the actual norm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Pornography is the norm.
Yep.
I probably watch it every other day.
Yep. Pornography is the norm. Women don't have any sense of connection with their children, and biologically, they don't need to. I mean, that's hardwired into us.
Well, you don't have a connection to anything. Men don't have men can have better connections than women can. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, dude, it's wild.
It's absolutely wild. You know, and that's why I don't have any sympathy when women, not only number one, are awarded and encouraged to not be mothers, and awarded financially to drag along. I'm going to say drag along an infant that she doesn't care about. She doesn't give a fuck about that. When's the last time you were on public transit and saw a single mother with her child? Did she look happy? Did she look like she really enjoyed having that child? I mean, come on, man. I mean,
I think most of the immigrants here are married.
Yes, the immigrants are married. The immigrants
but
are married.
by the third and fourth generation, done, finished.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely broken up by then.
Of course it
So
is.
as soon as they get here, they stay here for a couple of generations, and the whole thing fragments and collapse because of Americanism.
Yeah, I feel sorry for those people that come here, man. Well, I told you my neighbor. You remember I told you my not Syrian, Afghani neighbor, because he's been here 7 years. He's not Syrian because he was here 7 years ago, so he's Afghani, right? I had a little bit of a falling out with him. Remember I told you about that? where we kind of got in an argument because I wanted to go have a cigarette out in the back porch.
Uh-huh.
But the window to where his little newborn baby, his fifth child, by the way, Afghani Muslim, living under the poverty line with his wife, immigrant here, 5 kids, white people. Where's yours? Right? Not having them. Married, 5 fucking kids. His 5th fucking kid, he's younger than me. He's probably in his late 30s. Okay? 5 kids. So I'm out there having a cigarette, and he comes out and he goes, "Hey, man, don't smoke out there because my baby's window is right over there," which is fucking 15 meters away.
Right.
Right?
Far away.
Far away, man. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't smoke in my backyard because, give me a break. But I was nice. I said, okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'll go out to the front. So I go out to the front to smoke a cigarette. A couple weeks later, he comes out, and because he was emboldened after the first encounter, he comes out and he goes, "Hey, I heard your son early in the morning. He was making noise. Can you tell him to stop?" And I've been here before, man. Okay, like I know Muslims. I lived in fucking Asia for a long time. I was like, no, this is going no further. And I said, my son was asleep at fucking 9 at night. If you heard something, it wasn't from him. Get the fuck out of my face, right? Get out of my face. And I had a bit to drink too, so my tongue was a little looser, right? And I'm a Muslim, right? So I know how to piss these people off. So I said to him, the only fucking reason you're out here talking to me now is because your wife made you. And he lost it. Can you imagine telling a Muslim man that his wife made him do something? Holy fuck. It was incredible. Fuck, the boxing gloves were off at that point. But I know how to piss off a Muslim, man. I know how to do it. And that was it. I mean, that was the end of it. I lost all good relationships with my Muslim Syrian neighbor. But I'm not going to put up with that shit, man. Because I know exactly what happened. His wife, emboldened by the Western world, had him fucking on he had him, she had him by the nose. You know what I'm saying? Because
5 kids, yeah.
But I guarantee you, that would never have happened in Afghanistan. Never. He would never have gone out in the middle of the night on the request of his fucking wife and said, "Hey, man, can you tell your son to be quiet?" Never would have happened. Never would have happened. You know what he said to his wife? He'd be like, "Shut the fuck up. I got this. I'll deal with it. Baby can go to sleep." But he couldn't. He was in Canada now. He'd been in Canada for 7 years. What did 7 years in Canada do to his wife? Guess what it did? It emboldened her to tell her husband how to run the household. And when I shamed him and I said, "Your fucking wife made you do this, didn't you?" He lost his fucking mind. Because he knew it was true.
What was his response?
It was incredible. He started shaking. Like, it was weird. He started shaking, and then he just ran away. And then he called the owner of the complex and reported me. Do you think that man would have done that in Afghanistan? What do you think he would have done in Afghanistan?
I have maybe lop your head off.
Well, he would have, yeah, man. He would have asserted. He would have said, "What? Fuck you! I control my wife. I tell my wife what to do." You know, and something would have happened. You know, we would have solved the problem right there. I might have said,
Yeah.
I might have said, I might have said, "Oh, okay, I was wrong. Like, it wasn't your wife. Like, actually, I would have been I would have been kind of put in a bad spot for kind of dehumanizing him by daring to say that it was his wife that made him come out here." Oh, man, I really hurt that man's ego. But I knew what I was doing, so.
Wow.
I wouldn't have got away with that in Afghanistan, man.
Well, it's part of the American pie, bro. That's all it is. They can do. They all as soon as they get here, they all change. Remember, I was telling you a couple months ago that I can tell, like because I'm in a sea of brown. It's all different shades of brown I work with.
Yeah.
I can tell by the way they walk if they're first
Of
generation,
course you can.
second generation, or if they're immigrants. So obvious.
Yeah.
The anger in their walk, just a pissy walk. They look angry, and then they pass by me. Yeah, like oh my god, I'm like holy shit,
It's
dude.
in their
Get the
gait.
fuck.
It's in their gait. You know, the CIA can identify you by your gait, and
Yeah, it's
your
very
gait
easy,
is
very good.
your movement, your walking movement. They can identify it by it. You can identify culture by gait. They know this shit. And like I
Yep.
said, this Muslim man, if that would never have happened in Afghanistan, never. In fact, if I had to challenge that man in that sense, in that situation, I'm I might not have lived through it. You don't because they have authority. The men have authority there, and he knew he didn't, and he knew why, and I knew why, and I made fun of him because of it, and he couldn't do anything about it. And I'll tell you, um, do you know how I made up with him?
How?
Because I didn't want to be his enemy, right? You know, look, if that was in Afghanistan, I wouldn't have been his enemy. He would be dead, or I would be dead. But because we're here in Canada, I was like, "Fuck, man, I don't want to be enemies with this man the whole time I live here." So you know what I did? I went into my boxes of moving from Indonesia, and I pulled out this beautiful hand woven sajada, which is the Muslim prayer mat. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, black and gold.
Decked out. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
platinum.
beautiful sajada, right? Like the best. And I had it. I kept it for I had it for a reason. It's like this is amazing. This is incredible sajada. I'm not going to use it, but I'm going to keep it. Maybe I'll hang it on the wall one day, right? So I'm like, I'm going to make up with this guy. So I go over to his house. I knock on the door. And his kid comes to the door, and his wife comes to the door. I go, look, I have this sajada. I know I have a problem with your husband, but I have this beautiful sajada. Would you like it? They're like, oh my God, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now he's my best friend again. My best friend again.
Well, there you go. That's cool.
Hello? Hello? Lamprey's gone again, guys. Lamprey's gone. Every time, who said it? Every time he wants to say something important, he gets dropped off. Tarico. Tarico, you are Ecocock. That's your name, Ecocock.
I'm still here. Can you
Oh,
hear
you're
me?
there. Yeah, now I can hear you.
What I just
You
cut out
just
right there.
you cut out. You fucking cut out.
Oops.
We got Rockwell Cock. Rockwell Cock's a good name. Ecocock.
I think one of I was talking to who was it? Oh, but I left a comment to Bernard Chapin where I said I wish it would all just come down now, so the sooner the better. And he said no. No, because you want to keep extending it because once you're dead, you don't really care. So as long as we can keep this party going without it ending in bloodshed, we're in good shape.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man. I mean, I dance back and forth between look, this world is not everything. Death is not an end, so focus more on what's close to you and get close to your creator. But at the same time, I think you really need to don't give up. Don't go into despair. Definitely don't do that because that doesn't help anybody. So it's a tough thing, man. I don't even know.
Try to plan retirement. That would be my advice.
Yeah, try to plan. That's the best advice right there. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Plan your own retirement. Don't expect the state, your girlfriend, your parents or anyone else to help you out in the end, right? Uh, and again, if you do that, then you're on your own. And if you're on your own, who else is there? Well, there's your creator. Look to your creator. That's it. That's all you can do. Try to come back to that. That's the best you can do as a MGTOW man, as an individual. I would never, ever in my life try to convince any man to get married because that's what God wants and that's what will make the world a better place. The world's going to end, man, whether you have kids or not. That's not important. What's important is self-improvement. Look to a higher power than yourself and spread that among the other men you know. That's the best you can do. And if you're lucky, yeah, maybe you will get married and have a kid. Maybe. But that's it. That's all. That's the only advice I got, man. That's it.
That's sad. That's sad advice. I'm depressed now. That is a depression.
It is.
That is a very,
It's
very
not
sad
despair,
cock.
though. It's not despair.
Sad cock. He's a tiny cock.
No, I'm big cock. I'm big cock. We don't have sad cock yet. But do you want me to say what Owen Benjamin says and say, just get married? My wife's a 10. Just get married. If you don't get married, the world will fucking end. Is that what you want me to say? Because I can't say that. I'm sorry. I can't fucking say that.
That's retarded. That's insanity. You really can't get married. I'm dead ass. I'm dead ass. You cannot sign what is it, a marriage license.
No, it's a death sentence for men.
Death sentence. It really truly is a death sentence.
Fucking insane. And I won't say that, man. So you can call what I just said sad, but I will not fucking say that. You know, I'd rather say something that most people think is sad than go, hey, come this way, line up, put on a blindfold, tie your hands behind that pole, and just ignore the 10 of us that have rifles pointed at you. No, I'm not going to do that, man. Sorry. I ain't going to fucking do that.
MGTOW is a form of realism.
And realism is never, it's never a party.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not a party. It's very.
It's never a party.
That's why women hate it.
Yeah.
That's why women fucking.
Because
hate
women
it.
love parties, man.
Yes, realism is not right. Exactly.
Realism.
Well said.
Realism is not a party, and you don't. Yeah, man, you don't invite people to a realism party, you know, with cake and tea and shit and whatever. It doesn't happen. That's not what realism is.
No one's popping crystal at this party, sweetheart. You need to go home.
Yeah. No, you got to go home. And she'd be terrified. She'd be crying. Why am I here? Who brought me here?
I'm calling Google. I'm calling Jugal on you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's wrap it up. We're at what, 3+ hours. Warrior, I'm glad. Warrior Cock was in the whole time, brother. I'm glad you were there. Warrior
Pound the
Cock.
cock, guys. Hit the like button, pieces of shit. Stuck at 22.
Yeah. King of Calves. I don't recognize the name, but you can be King of Cocks if you like. King of Cocks is a good name. Wolfcock is still there. Look, guys, we really appreciate you coming in. We've done 3.5 hours tonight about single motherhood and the industrial complex around it. I hope there was something new to what you heard tonight. And if it wasn't new, it was a reminder. All right, a reminder. And you have to remember this. The truth isn't always something new. This is something I also learned from my life, is that the truth isn't always something new. The truth is often a reminder, which means you already knew it, but now we got to remind you again of it. And further, it's not always just a reminder, but sometimes it's a correction, where you've heard it before, but now you're hearing it correctly. That's how the truth functions. So anyway, guys, have a good night. If we're gonna take a play out of Owen Benjamin book, you're all my cocks now.
Yeah. We brought we brought you your old cocks, and we're gonna start doing the tribute to alpha males.
Yeah.
Alexander, Rockman, survived a broken back in a bear cave.
Yeah, man. The guy lived for. They don't even know how long he lived. Did you see him? He looked like a mummy. He lived in this cave for weeks, months. We don't know, and he's still alive, raising his hand.
Being gnawed on by a fucking bear.
Yeah, like a snack, a bear's snack for fucking months. And he lived. Unbelievable. We'll bring more alpha tales as we go on. You're all my cocks. I'm Big Cock. What are you, Lamprey? What are we calling you?
Milt cock.
Huh?
Remember what does milt stand mean?
Oh, yeah, milt cock. Good. Milt cock is good. Milt cock is good. I know what it means. Do you want to explain it, or they already know?
Nah, we'll save it for another day.
They know. I'm Big Cock. This is big.
Milt cock.
That's Milt Cock. All the cocks out there. That is my totem animal, the rooster. So we are all cocks. I'm not going to ask you to send me private mail to a P.O. box. Just being cocks is good enough.
We should do that.
Yeah. Yeah, whose P.O. box? You want to do it to yours? You going to read all the mail?
We could change it up. One half of the year me, one half of the year you, or something like that.
Yeah,
Something to look into.
Yeah, we could check it out. Maybe. All right, cocks. We'll see you again in a week's time. Actually, no, we won't. We'll have something uploaded for you because next week is a week off. But we do have something pre-recorded that we will upload for you, and you never know what'll happen in between. All right, guys? Remember, be safe, be wise, be MGTOW brothers, and we'll see you again. Good night.